Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was the most disappointing thing since my son. I mean,
Yeah.
how much more could you possibly fuck up the entire characterization of Puss in Boots? And while my son eventually injected himself with dope in a dingy alleyway, the unfortunate reality of The Last Wish is that it'll be around forever. It'll never go away. It'll can never be undone. But thankfully, DreamWorks was able to rectify their abhorrent handling of Puss in Boots with quality like Megamind 2 and Kung Fu Panda 4.
Ah, yes. The Doom Syndicate was an amazing cast. I remember everybody: Molten Man, French Man, and Fortnite Skin Knight.
Uh,
The Weather
yep.
Lady,
And also the guy who was
the Fish
you know
Guys.
that guy who yep, they
Yeah,
wear fish and they turn into sharks, I guess, maybe.
yeah.
Who knows?
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Oh man. But
What's
yeah,
happened with DreamWorks lately? What's happened with DreamWorks?
In the span of 2 years.
We had Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which was an incredible like return to form, if anything, and it was just incredible seeing them. And now we've had Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, Trolls 3, which I've heard is all right. Then Mega Mind 2.
we're
And
back. You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Mega Mind is back. You've been waiting.
Yeah,
You're
I've
welcome.
You've been listening. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I've been asking for a good film, so fuck you.
Uh, oh man.
So yeah, uh, as you can tell, our tone of voice today is a special day. It's Easter Monday, but it's also April Fool's Day, so
Mm.
celebrations for that.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, welcome back to another Reviews Corp podcast. This is episode 22. I'm your good host, Red Devilos Reviews, and my good co-host, Unity Review and Analysis here. What's up, Unity?
Hello. I'm just sorry. I'm just doing another project, and then I will talk about this movie. This is so exciting.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
before we get into that topic, why don't we have a new guest on our podcast today. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renee. I am a little bit of acquaintance with Red Devilosa and Unity. And with the movie that we're talking about today, I offered up to bring up some good points that I've seen from videos and even just points that I made myself. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you. So yeah,
Uh,
just a quick reminder before we get started. We do have another channel, another Reviews Core podcast, where we archive these videos usually 2 days after the stream, and we also have a Spotify of the same name. Both of these links will be in the description down below, as well as Renee's channel, which we'll have her talk about that later in the
Of course.
podcast.
Of
But
course.
yeah,
yeah.
consider subscribing to all of us, and yeah, and as we are talking
Uh,
about Kung Fu Panda 4. So,
this was not a
what is there to
skadoosh.
say about? It's not a skadoosh.
Yeah, it's not a
No.
skadoosh, unfortunately.
No. I mean, at least people didn't say it's
When,
good.
when
No.
the most takes I would probably say is either disappointing or mid, for a lot of people, which I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I mean, if all people said it's mid, I was like, fuck you. That's if that is mid, what do you think it's bad?
I thought it was disappointing. I will say, as someone who watched Kung Fu Panda 1 a lot as a very young kid, I really grew up with just loving Po as a character. He really resembled a lot to me. Seeing him like go through Kung Fu Panda 2 in the movie theater, and then seeing Kung Fu Panda 3 at home on Netflix, I think that Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2 are great movies. 3 is pretty good, I'd say. And then this
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna get to that.
And then 4. Sorry for cutting off.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Like and then 4. We'll
Oh,
get to
okay.
this.
I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I would say like for me, of course, like 1 and 2, definitely great. 3, I did find it disappointing at the time, but after rewatching it earlier today, I definitely got a newfound appreciation for that film. Well, at least mainly because like 1, it felt like it was a conclusion at the time because
Mhm.
as you all know, Kung Fu Panda 3 ended in 2016, and we have a 4th film here in 2024, and they like confirmed this was going to happen like just like a few months ago.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think there was only like 2 major trailers. But that's about it really in terms of the marketing. Like it really felt like there was no hype or like no kind of like any kind of like advertising. I don't know what's like. That's kind of the thing about DreamWorks nowadays. Is like a lot of
Mhm.
the recent products are just kind of like happening right away, and like there's no time to really process that. Oh my god, we're getting a sequel to. We're getting another one for Kung Fu Panda franchise, which we'll talk about. They're planning a new trilogy with
Yep.
Yeah.
this set. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, it's just kind of weird how things like this is just like I don't know. It's just like the direction is just kind of off, so to speak.
Mm.
Yay. It's by the way, I enjoy all 3 movies. I mean, I didn't see them for a while, but like I enjoyed them. The third one is clearly the weakest one until the 4th one happened.
Yep.
Uh, I remember coming out of the theater when the movie was done. I looked to my friends next to me and I said to them, you know, I was probably too harsh on Kung Fu Panda 3.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Perhaps I
was
treated
just
you too
simply
harshly.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see this a lot whenever there's like something clearly isn't that good in the previous thing, it's like, and then the new one happened and it's way worse. It's like, fuck, perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So obviously, like when we're told that Kung Fu Panda 4 is here. Oh, I can't wait to see what the next adventure of Po and the Furious Five are gonna go through. Yeah, the Furious Five. You know those friends of Po. They've been in all the movies. They've had a lot of adventures with Po and all. So hopefully this film gets to take advantage of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at these posters, man. Like none of them are there. And I like the fact that I believe the director's like, yeah, the Furious Five is there in the movie. It's like all the characters you've seen from all 3 movies will be in this movie too. It's like, yeah, I guess that's true. We'll get to how they put the Furious Five in the movie.
Yeah.
But
I will
Yeah.
say, Mantis is definitely in the poster here. He's just very small, like his action figure.
That's true. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, it's interesting you bring up Mantis because, especially about how small he is, because I think that's going to be a theme for one of the characters in this movie.
That's great. That's great.
I mean,
Uh,
oh my god.
uh,
That's not. That's not even what all the issues from the chameleon was like. What the fuck is that name? It's like, what is your
Chimera.
name?
Oh
It's
yeah,
the Chimera.
the Chimera.
Chimera.
Yeah.
Hey, imagine like it's like imagine you just Lord Shan is just called I'm the Peacock.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. We're never going to talk about that name, the naming, especially 2 of the names in this movie. But yeah, so basically, for a quick little recap, obviously, the first 3 movies are pretty well known, especially the first one, especially like how Po was just a regular nerdy kid, like nerdy guy who loves action figures and kung fu, and he's always wanted to be highly respected in the kung fu sphere while working at his dad's noodle shop. then one day fate happens where he becomes the Dragon Warrior, according to Master Oogway. Yeah, and then he goes on his adventures. He has he trains in these films. He goes up against some of these great villains like Tai Lung and Shen. Kai was okay, but I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate him more now, especially after this movie.
Well, I mean,
Uh, yeah.
at least he's actually intimidating.
Yeah, that's true.
And he actually has a very good theme song.
He does have very good
Yeah.
music.
And also, he's played by J.K. Simmons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is always a win.
and Bryan Cranston voiced Poe's real dad, which I didn't
Mhm.
know at the time, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
He didn't have Jesse with him, so he needed his son Poe to be able to find the myth.
Jack Black is a good son to have, to be fair.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he is.
True.
Yeah,
He doesn't
Yes.
complain for breakfast.
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So basically, at the end of the third film, Poe pretty much masters the element of chi in the spirit realm. He gets to have a last conversation with Master Oogway in there, where he is given the staff of I don't know, I can't remember the specific name, but he's given this green staff, and Oogway basically says like, you are now like the success, like my successor, like as like the spiritual leader, in that sense. So that's basically how that film ends. And then you also have obviously like Poe is like teaching pandas and other people how to become they're starting to learn kung fu, and that's basically how that movie ends. So this movie, we kind of start off, we're in the Valley of Peace, and Poe is so okay. Yeah, so basically, there's a few things that happen. Poe, he's basically on like an adventure. He's fighting a stingray.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a decent little opening fight. And then he comes back to the village. Everybody's like asking for an autograph. Shifu says he has something very important to say. But Poe is like saying maybe later. We got a ceremony for the new restaurant that both of his dads are doing.
Yes.
So yeah, and then he's asking for autographs, basically for pictures, and and then we get to what Shifu wants to talk to Poe about, which is now that Oogway has selected him to be the spiritual successor, he needs to now find a new dragon warrior.
What?
Yep.
Right now? What the fuck? Like, how? Why?
So I will definitely say this I remember like from the first movies. I've seen the first movie quite a lot. I remember that from the first movie, the role of the Dragon Warrior was something like it was like this one person, like the Dragon Warrior could be able to survive off of a dew from a single leaf and the energy of the universe, just making it seem like this is a role that only one person could have.
Yeah.
And they just kind of make it here where it's a annual role where it's like, okay, Poe's our Dragon Warrior for this term. Now we need to select a new one. And yeah.
If I remember correctly, I feel like the Dragon Warrior, I believe in the first film, like they said, that it hasn't been open for like 1,000 years.
Yep.
Or at least like a unnumbered amount of time, meaning like
it's like
clearly it's very rare. Whereas like here, Poe hasn't been the Dragon Warrior for that long, but because Oogway gave his staff, that just means he needs to be the spiritual success, like that kind of thing, where he can't be the Dragon Warrior too. And that's kind of the thing too, because like all of this is under Shifu's impression.
Yeah.
Which Oogway never said that in his final conversation with Poe.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure where these leaps and bounds are coming from.
And if you go through the last movie, it's like what Oogway said to him. It's like, okay, this is why I choose you. This you can bring balance to the universe, yin and yang. It's like blah blah fake shit. But it's like, dude, you're chosen for a reason. This is not annual shit.
Yeah.
fuck?
And my main thing here too is like, because like Uguay is like also playing it as a joke too, which is totally fine. That's not what I'm criticizing. Like he's he's saying like just take my staff. It's like I have a bigger one, so it's all right if you take this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it just seems like look, I'm giving you my staff. I mean, it's like I guess he's like taking Uguay's position, but that doesn't really. But Uguay was still like a kung fu master. You can still. I don't know why that means that Poe can't be the Dragon Warrior anymore. He has to find somebody else to replace him. That just like I just don't know where the rule came from outside of the
Yeah,
writers forcing that.
they just invent the shit out of it. Even if it's like, even if that's the case, wouldn't you believe that they would just do it like right like when Poe almost died of old age? Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, that is
Yeah, and Uguay was like over 500 plus years old. So I don't know.
That is
like,
true.
I don't know how like that's the part. It's in the first 5 minutes too, so it's like that's where I was like, God, what the fuck? And then it's like my other thing too is like I think once I heard that plot line, it's like okay, and we all knew Aquafina was in this movie. We knew I knew exactly what was gonna happen right away, and it
Yeah.
happens exactly.
Oh
that way.
yeah.
We'll get to her
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
it's quite insane because it's like and I checked the writers. It's like, okay, who wrote this? It's like, oh, the original writers who wrote all three movies, plus a new one.
I can also say real quick that from Kung Fu Panda 3, correct me if I'm wrong, Red, since you have like recently rewatched all three of them, with the whole conflict with Kung Fu Panda 3 was about Poe learning to go into this new position. He wasn't going to simply be the Dragon Warrior anymore. The whole thing at the beginning was that he simply saw like the Dragon Warrior being like peace through just like, just like punching people and stuff like that. That was one of the quotes that they said. Yeah. And Shifu was like, you think that being the Dragon Warrior is all about punching and everything? There's like a matter of like peace. And that's when he's supposed to learn how to bring chi and how to teach others to be themselves. And he even learns throughout all this, because there's the introduction of his father, right, that he learns that he is going to always be who he is, Poe, the Dragon Warrior. And yet at the beginning of this movie, it feels like instead of us seeing the Poe that has learned this at the very end of Kung Fu Panda 3, we are seeing Poe like from the beginning of Kung Fu Panda 3 being placed here in Kung Fu Panda 4, and it feels very strange to me.
Yeah, like that's a good point. I felt like Poe in general in this movie felt like he was either Kung Fu Panda 2 version or Kung Fu, like a very like he has the fighting skills, he has some chi thing, but like his personality doesn't feel like he's grown. He feels like one of the earlier versions where he was still learning. Which obviously, like there, as Shifu says, like there's always more to learn. Even at his age, he can still learn a lot of stuff. That's not really what I'm going at. It's more like Poe just feels like a lot more immature than some of his earlier characterizations.
And dude, and when they actually reveal like, okay, this is why I was afraid to be a Dragon Warrior, blah blah blah. I was like, go fuck yourself. That is never the reason, and you actually just regress his entire character.
Yeah.
It's the scene that Pang and Bryan Cranston talks to Poe was like, haha, yeah, you can't be afraid of change. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
That's kind of my other thing too. Like this movie has a lot of things where there is like it's like retreading things from the earlier movies, like in terms of the character arcs. Mm-hmm. Poe is like a very obvious example, and then like obviously some of our villains that we will see. But yeah, that's just like but that's kind of like that was kind of like my takeaway in the first 5 minutes. It's like, oh, like once they said that, we're looking for a new Dragon Warrior now. It's like, oh, so this is Awkwafina's new role. That's why she's in this movie.
One more thing, which is like, okay, even if you just like go for this movie's logic, it's like you have to choose the Dragon Warrior right now. It's like, okay, who are you gonna choose? So it's like, maybe your friends, the Furious
Yeah.
Five.
Yeah.
You.
It's like they don't get a chance to be in this Dragon Warrior ceremony.
Well,
That's perfect.
well, remember the
It's
Furious
like,
Five
yeah,
are.
we also they also had they have Poe do like the classic. Oh yeah, they're off doing these missions at different parts of the world.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's better than just saying they got killed off screen or something.
Oh yeah, that would be
Yeah,
that would
that is-
be
that-
insulting.
Oh, yeah.
At least the explanation had like a cool animation style, even though I was like, oh, why can't we see them again? But in the meantime, we need to talk about Aquafina, and
Oh my.
and
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say it. I don't think Aquafina did a bad job. I don't think. I feel like every time that
I
like
agree.
everyone's like, oh, it's Aquafina again. I feel like she's just not given the best like cards. I've seen like her in Crazy Rich Asians, and I thought she was pretty funny there. And I just feel like with this movie, it just shows she
Yeah,
was dealt with
I
not
agree.
the right cards.
Yeah,
mean,
I feel like some of the issues could be like she gets typecasted for some of these roles, which is like kind of unfortunate. Yeah, this is one of her better, like at least one of her better voice roles. I mean, especially when we compare it to the whole scuttlebutt thing. But again, that's not really her fault either. They just wrote her that way in Little Mermaid.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really have an issue. It's just like, but I think my biggest issue is like one is like I knew that from the get go, this is the redemption character, quote unquote, who's going to become the new
Yeah.
Dragon Warrior, and then
Yeah.
that just kind of like that already puts like a bad taste in my mouth, mainly because like one, it's already kind of stupid that we need to get Poe out of the Dragon Warrior role, especially based on a semantics game that was all based on Shifu's point of view, which I mean. Because like
I mean,
Poe's staff has access to the spirit realm. He could go back and talk to Oogway and clarify.
That is true.
Yeah.
Like, is this
And
what you mean
apparently
by like I can't be the Dragon Warrior anymore? I have to be what you used to be. It's like he could have just done that, but yeah.
But
We'll talk about that staff in a bit.
yeah.
By the way, we do have a name. It is Staff of Wisdom.
Staff of Wisdom.
Okay, where did you name that? Definitely not in the last movie.
No,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Kung Fu Panda wiki real quick.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck was that name? But okay, because so Aquafina and Poe. So Poe saw that Aquafina is going inside the temple to steal something. This will be important later for the overall Chameleon's plan because when I pulled it back, I was like, what the fuck are you planning?
Yeah.
Okay, so post bought her. It was like even though it was like even though I would believe that Aquafina will be more stealthier because she's a thief, but whatever. That's my least of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing Aquafina said, "You took the staff from the Dragon Warrior."
Yeah.
Hello, Sty.
Hi,
Uh,
Spy.
I'm doing pretty well.
Oh yeah, we're doing
I
fine.
wish this film was better.
Yeah. Yep. And we're just talking about all the things. So
Yeah.
we're just talking about Aquafina said, "You took the staff from the Dragon Warrior." Poe said, "I'm the Dragon Warrior." Yeah. And it was like Aquafina's like, "Oh. So
Really? You?
really? You? Yeah." It's like,
Yeah.
haha, funny. Yep. So this implies whoever sends her didn't tell her that, by the way, this guy is a Dragon Warrior.
Oh,
Or at
right.
least-
I was like, and you have to steal the staff from a Dragon Warrior. I was like, okay, who is Dragon Warrior? Fuck you, I'm not gonna tell you.
That's a funny point.
Yeah. And then it kind of gets weird when they start bringing Tai Lung into this story. It's like Tai Lung is a legend, but like people really don't know who Poe is, who defeated Tai Lung. Just
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get that's yeah.
Yeah, the first scene. Remember the first scene, which is Tai Lung. He's jumping around, throwing stuff. Apparently that's disguised by the chameleon, and she doesn't know kung fu.
We're gonna get to that. yeah.
And
But
I was
but just for like a setup thing, this character Zhen is her name, which is very similar sounding to Shen, the villain of the second movie. Which for me, it's like I don't know, like because like I know you're more familiar with the naming convention and all that. You feel like these naming conventions like Zhen and Shen, like that could be like pretty confusing in terms of like the differences.
to be honest, I forgot. When I was watching this movie, I was like, wait, what is Aquafina's character name again?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody in the reviews just Aquafina. They don't really
Yeah.
care.
In Chinese, Shan, like Lord Shan means God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so
Zen I think ZH.
yeah, which is I don't know that pronunciation. It's like, and that means let's just say that is not really that important.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, and Kai means ocean. If you're wondering, General
Yeah.
Kai.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, so Zhen is pretty good at kung fu. So whoever was like her master, should probably know kung fu. Maybe.
Oh, I have. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
I have something to say about that later, but later.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Zhen and Po they get in a fight. Po eventually does like, he does like gets her restrained, and then she gets sent off to prison, and then.
By the way, I don't know what's like. Wait, how
Yeah.
how did Aquafina like get the upper hand against Poe? He's a fucking dragon warrior. That's one thing I was like, no, fuck you. You nerf Poe.
Yeah, I feel like it's more prevalent in the later scenes as well. But yeah, oh yeah, we also kind of forgot like the actual opening of the movie is like Tai Lung is terrorizing the city.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And then and then people were telling Po on the streets like while he was like sending Zhen to prison that Tai Lung have attacked our village. Tai Lung, how is that possible? He's in the spirit realm. Yeah, they don't know, but like, yeah, he's just attacking. Po has to go out and see, what's happening over there. Then he just goes back to the prison, and then
Which is like, yeah. My first thing is, wait, what the fuck? Why do you even let her send to a prison? Just interrogate her right here.
yeah, it's kind of like that's kind of the thing about like I do agree with Schaefer in that sense, like when in his review, like saying like the world just feels small in terms of like how some of these things are happening in these different villages, and then like he goes out to like the village to see like the damage that Tai Lung quote unquote did, and then goes back to the prison, and then because like Zhen said something about like how looks like you have to clean up your own mess or something like that, which is like kind of like a segue to like she knows what's happening with Tai Lung.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just like you can definitely feel like how small things feel in terms of the world, especially like when you compare like the second movie.
Oh, true.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone in that movie knows who's a dragon warrior, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
And in the third movie, it was like they were like, "Oh fuck, you got news that this master is killed. This master is killed," and Shifu knows about this because there's news about it. Like, it's like those should be. Yeah, it's like information should be spread across everywhere.
Yeah, we'll get to that example once we're there.
Right.
But yeah, so he goes back to the prison, and she's making the suggestion that she knows who this Tai Lung is. It's not actually Tai Lung. It's somebody named the Chameleon. Which by the way, that name convention is just like kind of weird, mainly because like because like all these other names we had like Tai Lung, we had
Lord Shen.
Lord Shen, Kai. Like these are clearly names, and then obviously like our own characters like Poe, Tigers. Well, I guess like the Furious Five are pretty generic in that sense. I guess Shifu, Uguay, things like that.
Yeah,
So
Shifu
it's just
means
kind of
yeah.
disappointing that
Shifu
Chameleon
means
is just the
master.
Chameleon.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Chameleon is an evil sounding name if you were to consider.
It's like her royal title in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a Marvel. It sounds like a Marvel character, really. It's like, who are you? I'm the
Chameleon.
Spider-Man.
Which is
Yeah.
the Chameleon is a Marvel character, to be fair.
Yeah, it sounds like that. It's like I'm the Rhino, motherfucker.
Yeah, but yeah, that's not too important. So the Chameleon is like basically a shapeshifter. Like she is able to turn into like different people, and she's basically terrorizing different villages using her shapeshifting power. And
Which
and then
yeah.
Poe is like he's gonna go and stop that. Which Shifu was telling him like don't do that. You have to focus on finding the new Dragon Warrior.
What
which is
what
like
just like
kinda
fuck
weird.
you. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, dude,
that's
that's Tai
responsibilities.
Lung. I was like, that's Tai Lung, Shifu. You know, the guy who
That's the thing that that's the part I don't understand. Like they don't really talk about that with Shifu. Like Shifu has like an emotional connection to Tai Lung, considering his backstory. So and that just doesn't really get mentioned.
There's a reason for that, but we'll leave that later.
Yeah. And it's awful. And then I also, not to mention, he arrived there at the same time. It's like blah blah, and he was like, "Oh fuck it, that's a job for a Furious Five." Yeah, they're in the fucking other countries or something. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, Tai Lung. Yeah, remember the last time he almost destroyed the entire town? Yeah,
Yep.
And you know the time that the Furious Five failed to stop him.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
So let's see. We were at the part where Poe was kind of interrogating Zhen, right?
Yeah. And then like Jen is like, yeah, I can help you out. Poe's like, no, I can do it myself, but you're not really gonna get her, so you should probably take me with you. And yeah, so Poe takes her with him.
Yeah.
And they basically set off to find the Chameleon.
And
at Juniper City.
Yay. What the fuck?
Yeah, but before they could do that, there's a quick pit stop at a
we should talk about a chameleon scene.
Yes.
You're right. That happens first.
That is what happens. Yep.
So there is a little conference between some of the villains and goons basically, and they're talking about the Chameleon. Like, I think she kind of sucks. Which, to be fair,
goon squad.
That's true. She does suck.
My first question is like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about in here instead of like a closed room or something? If you know that she could shapeshift.
That's really my main problem. It's like I don't know why you would openly talk treason when you know she can shapeshift. But yeah, it's just a way to show us how she's a bad guy, which is she's impersonating as a regular person.
Yeah.
And then she listens to everybody saying how much she sucks.
Yeah.
And then it's like maybe she could be you, or maybe it might be me. And then she turns into the Chameleon.
And I was like, wow, they just stole that from Team Fortress 2.
Yeah. And then then she basically turns into an elephant and then pretty much walks in the direction of one of the goons to the point where the goon falls down the stairs, and I guess that kills him.
Nope, it doesn't kill him. He does come back. He does come back in the scene later when she asks money from him, but yeah, in case people haven't seen the movie, which by the way, this is a whole spoiler thing.
Yeah.
This is the most intimidating thing she does in the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just having someone fall down the stairs.
So Tai Lung has a sequence where he breaks out of prison, shows that he is basically an unstoppable force of power. Lord Shen uses a cannon to kill one of the best kung fu masters in the world. Then
Yep.
Kai uses chi to defeat Master Oogway, and the chameleon pushes somebody down the stairs.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I do agree with I think it was Schaeferless who mentioned it's like I feel like if the opening scene was the Tai Lung, like Tai Lung is taken out of the spirit realm, he's fighting off all of Chameleon's goons, and then she takes his power. Like if that was the opening scene, that might be pretty cool. Like in terms of at least that would be like a decent thing to like show that she's evil and she like wow she defeated Tai Lung super easily, which honestly is like that's a bit of its own problem there, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of like a villain entrance, like that could have been like at least something cool instead of just having someone fall down the stairs.
Yeah,
yeah.
it just reminds me of in Team Fortress 2. You guys play that game, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
I've seen
it's
it,
like
yeah.
you know the cutscene of the spy who's like when one person was like, oh maybe it could be you, it could be you, it could be you, and then and then one of the person shoot the person who said that, and it's like, oh, that person is a spy. And it's revealed, no, it's not. It's actually the person at the furthest. And he actually took his knife to just stab them in the back. It was like, yeah. The entire sequence is like, wow, you just made a lamer version of that from a video game, like a decade ago.
Yeah. Let me see. Chameleon. So yeah, Chameleon. So we don't really have her motivations yet of as to why she's evil. We'll learn that in a bit. Which is also kind of like annoying too, because like the backstories in the first three movies, like they pretty much kind of go through like either they have somebody explain it to Poe in their backstory, like especially for Tai Lung. But though in the second film they do have like the Chinese shadow puppets, kind of showing
really
Shen's,
cool sequence.
which is a really good sequence. And then in the third film, Oogway and Kai are kind of like talking about the backstory and in terms of his motivation. And then obviously we get to see more of that when Shifu reads the scrolls from Oogway's records. So it's like that kind of stuff is like, so it gives us like an early understanding of these villains, of like of why they're the villains, like why why they're at where they are now. So it's like a good way to like have the audience like know about who these villains are and have them be prepared to understand what kind of threat they will be for the rest of the movie. Here it's like it's just basically a bunch of goons like, oh, I heard she was like a piece of shit. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. That's all I need from my villain, I guess.
Yeah.
Yay. I mean, you gotta have her be like a smart person instead. She's done the most basic shit ever.
Yeah, but yeah, once we get to her motivation as to why she's evil, it'll get funnier. I promise.
And her entire plan was like, "Fuck you."
Ah, yes.
So yeah. Meanwhile, I guess like there's nothing really to say too much about the dads. I
mean,
they're worrying for their son, and because he's gonna fire. He's going after a sorceress that can shapeshift into anything. You can't tell who the chameleon is, and all that stuff. So it's like we have to go after him.
They're the best parts of the movie.
Yeah,
I honestly did like them. They're dynamic together.
Even that, I have issues with that.
Yeah, though their final reasoning is what I don't like, but outside of that, yeah, I do like those two.
I mean, they have
they were more entertaining than Poe and Aquafina.
They have the only joke I like, so it's like
Oh yes, they definitely have the funnier scenes, and they definitely have very very gay coding, which I'm all for. And I know it's like, oh, they're of course not, but also at the same time, me and some other people are like, oh yeah, no, they're definitely gay.
Honestly, I do kind of appreciate that aspect. Like, you know, the franchise kind of put the whole concept of like two dads, like even in the third film. So it's like, and then you have it with this film too as well. It's like, and they don't really go too like, you know, it doesn't go like too far in terms of like that we have like this is like a problem or anything. Like this is just completely normal for Poe, which is like really
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah, I
I
love
appreciate it for
that.
that. I appreciate it for that aspect, and I also appreciate like this film doesn't have to like kind of go over that either too. Like Poe still likes that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I really appreciate
Yep.
I appreciate that dynamic in general.
Mhm.
Though my only thing is like I don't really my only issue, not really an issue, is just like we don't really get too much in terms of like why Lee isn't with this village anymore, but it's not really a big problem.
Yeah,
I guess it's just something that could have been
Yeah.
explained a little bit.
I
But
think
yeah,
it's all right.
yeah, it's okay.
About it. Yeah.
What's not all right is the bar that Poe and Aquafina go to.
Yeah, which
Okay.
we're right there now.
Yeah. First,
So
so
basically, they're there. The well, first off, I don't even understand the location of this building. Like, it's literally like half teetering on a cliffside. That's certainly a design choice, which
I
will
think
be a
it's
part of.
neat.
It'll be a part of a gag for later in the movie with the dads.
Yeah.
but
But yeah, basically they go in. It's a shady place. They're just pretty much there to like rest for the night. And so Aquafina is like is totally legitimately getting money from gambling to pay for their dinner.
but
Which then
my
she gets caught basically.
to be honest, even Dad was like, "Wait, what? Did Polnareff bring any money for a journey or something?" I mean, she did, but it's like, oh yeah, right, he did. But it's like, do you not pay enough to get yourself dinner?
uh,
Yeah. I mean, he get enough to pay the boat. It's like, okay, fuck. What about eating?
Yeah,
No.
and this is kind of like the start of like I'm the Dragon Warrior. What's that?
It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, though it gets worse in the city, but we'll get to that. But yeah,
I
no,
will also point out right now,
yeah.
keep in mind the citizens in the Juniper City and the bar have no idea who the Dragon Warrior is, yet Zhen knows somehow.
Yeah. Yep. And even with Jen, it's like when she saw the panda holding the staff, it's like, oh, you stole that from the Dragon Warrior. It's like, I am the Dragon Warrior. Huh? Really? It's like, so I guess she didn't know.
It was like,
Well,
and
at least she doesn't know that a panda at the very, which is really weird
yeah,
on Chameleon's part. We'll get to that. But yeah, nobody knows that this panda is the Dragon Warrior or what the Dragon Warrior even is. And yeah, it gets worse when we get into the city. But yeah. So basically, Aquafina gets caught with all the mahjong pieces in her tail falling out of her tail, and that gets them to that basically brings in the bar fight, which gets to the point where Poe has to use his staff of wisdom to summon like a dragon chi, which is a pretty OP move.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I don't think in this bar fight it was necessary for him to go into that. It's clearly just a setup for what's going to be used for later in the movie. But yeah, I don't know if like, but it is a very OD move in
yeah,
general,
and to be honest,
especially for what it does later.
to be honest, if for Poe was like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, Poe should be like, oh fuck, this my friend stole everyone money. I was like, okay, instead of like actually having a fight, he should be like, I'm gonna shoot some chi in the air. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm the Dragon Warrior, stand down. It's like, no, he just gotta fight everyone. It's like, motherfucking what? No, they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and obviously because they stole money too, so it's like,
And
but
they're
there's
also kind of threatening the bunnies.
yeah, that was it's just like sitting in the pot, stirring the stew or something.
Yeah, that was good.
And then Poe puts her right back into the pot later in the fight.
And it's like, keep stirring.
Yeah. So yeah, that basically is the fight. I just felt like he didn't really need to use his chi powers to stop everybody. He's kind of like dealt with these kinds of people fighting skill wise, but that's why I feel like he's a little bit nerfed in terms of his fighting ability. But yeah. It's just very clear that this is a setup for something that will happen later in the movie. And then,
remember in the last movie, he literally just turned the She Dragon. It's like, fuck, just do that. You're just like, hey, okay, I'm Dragon Warrior, prove it. Here, I'm not some She Dragon.
Yeah, and honestly, like I felt like some of that stuff could have been like past. Like that's kind of my other thing I wanted to mention about like the magic system in this world. Especially since like the third film is clearly going more into like the spirit world and like the magic system within the spirit world, like chi and stuff. But you could argue that it's because they were in the spirit realm, like a lot of the magic in there could work pretty well because it is like a magical realm and like they can use more of their magic in there. Whereas like when they start using magic in this movie, it kind of feels like they're going pretty heavy-handed in terms of like sometimes it can go a little bit way OD in terms of like how much magic can be used and like is there any restrictions for that? But like yeah, that's kind of like something that I mean obviously we've seen like Oogway use chi in the first movie. So it's like we know that stuff exists. But like I always felt like those are like simple things like pressure points to get somebody to knock out, like things like that. So it's like it's kind of like it's like palatable. Here it's like I can summon a dragon out of my staff to basically instant stop everybody.
Yeah, and also it's like, I mean, he can also do like healing and stuff. Just saying. Yeah, it's like healing and just like
chi for healing.
Yeah, healing, make flowers grow, and just like really simple stuff. To be honest, I'm surprised they didn't bring up the just like here. I'm gonna do chi healing after the long fight we did.
Yeah. So I think after this point, it was they got on the ship, or did we cut back to the dads like real quick and then go?
Yeah, the dads were
ship?
doing the dads.
Yeah,
were doing
by the way, they just land
the stairs.
By the way, they just land on the ship. Even though the duck and the fish are like inside the house like a few seconds ago, and they just teleport and just opens the ship, turns on the ship. It's like yeah, and they managed to catch Poe and Shan in time.
Did we even mention the duck?
No.
Yeah, fuck.
The pelican.
Wait, it was like, wait, can't the duck speak?
So the fish speaks for the duck.
Yes.
Yeah. So the duck just normal quacks and all that stuff, and the fish just speaks English for like whatever it's basically trying to say. Yeah, that kind of stuff is just like they just end up on the boat and they're heading to Juniper City. We talked about the dads like in terms of like, oh, I'm about to fall off the cliff, and then like he lands like 5 feet below.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
They're on their way up the mountain. Meanwhile, the team is heading into Juniper City, and Juniper City, there is a lot to say.
Yep. Just before that, do you know how they rushed like Poe and Shan's relationship? They're like, oh fuck, and Poe was like, oh fuck, I suddenly like you now. Wow.
I don't know if it was like necessarily to the point where it was like I think how it was like in the movie was that it was just like, oh, he was at least like gotten she got his respect somewhat, and that's what the whole relationship was supposed to be. But
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever to a point where it was like, oh, they're like friends. I think it was just like to the point of like respect, but the movie didn't do a very good job in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I think that's
like,
the kind of the issue with the film in general with their relationship. It's like I don't really like.
yeah.
I'm not really buying their friendship.
No, it's like
It's
for me. It's like
And it's not like in the sense like oh, we know she's like a thief and she has like a third, like she's undercover and all this stuff. It's like I feel like when that whole undercover thing happens, like it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
I expected
But
it the moment I saw her.
yeah, this exactly.
Yeah.
She's a
And-
fox. Like come on,
Yeah.
that's
But
what
yeah,
they do, right?
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, and by the way, the both scenes, like, even though it's like, I like you more now, it's like, no, fuck you. She'll be furious at her. She literally just, she tries to steal money from everyone. She literally, like, illegally won money, and he literally, she almost got you killed. She almost screwed over the mission. It's like, no, you should be mad at her instead of like, yeah, I like you more. It's like, no. It's so poorly established. They just try to rush it.
Yeah, the
It's kinda-
pacing in this movie is just not. It's
Yeah.
way too fast. It doesn't have time to breathe. It just goes next scene, next scene.
Yeah, like absolutely. Like in watching the first three movies, like I felt like all these scenes like had a lot of time to, like even if like all of the films are like 90 minutes each, 90-ish minutes. So it's like, but the other films like do a better job pacing its characters, like its plot points and things like that. Even though it has like a lot of characters in it too. This film has a lot of characters in it too, but it doesn't really know what to do, especially like as we were saying, you have no wonder they cut out the Furious Five because they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're doing anything better with some of our replacement characters. But
Yep.
yeah,
But hey,
you can
hopefully
definitely see
Juniper City's cool.
oh yeah,
No, fuck it.
it looks cool.
It does. It does. The movie visually looks amazing. I just think that Juniper City is a poor man's crap. I forgot the name of the name of the city. Fongman City
Yeah.
in Kung Fu Panda 2.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's also kind of works like Madripoor. Like, oh yeah, you can do all the things you can do, whatever you want. You can steal whatever you want. It's great. I guess that's how it works. But yeah, they go into the city. So they're looking for Chameleon. Then there's like this interaction with some of the cops, like because apparently, so this is the problem. Aquafina's character is wanted in this city, Juniper City, which it might sound fine out of context, but then once you learn about the quote unquote twist later, it's like this entire wanted poster thing doesn't make any sense.
What?
Yeah.
I just realized. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, so that's how they know. It's like they just walk in and there's a bunch of wanted posters for Aquafina. I was like, wow, somehow no one noticed you before they reveal the poster. You know, the moment you step foot in the city.
Yeah. We're just like, yeah, I mean, like that part is like, just for the whole dramatic reveal, all that stuff for Poe. I get that part, but I think my main thing really, it obviously like when we get to the twist with Chameleon, then it's like, okay, this entire city makes no sense now.
Yeah.
And but like even when we're doing that, Poe is like trying to get her out of the case. It's like, officer, it's like she's fine. She's with me. I'm the Dragon Warrior. We have to do some important business, and I need her. And I was like, what? Yeah, because nobody in the city knows the Dragon Warrior
For some reason.
for
And
some
Poe
reason.
doesn't catch on to this for some reason.
Yep. And apparently, like the chameleon knows who the Dragon Warrior is. By the way, they made it clear in the first scene.
Yep.
Yeah,
And also, by the way, why didn't Aquafina disguise herself? Like put a mask on her so no one can notice that. Oh fuck, that's a criminal. Because
Yeah.
she did that in her first scene. Just put a mask on her.
yeah, that's true.
I
Uh,
think to me
yeah.
the biggest thing that stands out in this sequence, and it's just after this, when the bulls chase after like Jen and Poe. Like I think everyone's talked about like, oh, the music in this scene is pretty cool. And the reason that it sounds pretty cool is because Hans Zimmer, with that sequence, it's literally Crazy Train. You know, the
Oh, yeah.
popular song Crazy Train.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And here's the thing. I thought of it where at first I was like, okay, when I was watching in the theater, I didn't know what Crazy Train was or just the name of the song. I knew the song, and in the theater, I was like, Jesus, like this song sounds familiar. Why is this is distracting me from the movie? And then I found out what it was later, and I thought about it and just think, okay, the music for Kung Fu Panda 4, but really that one track stood out to me because when you think about Kung Fu Panda, you don't think about the song Crazy Train. You think of Kung Fu Fighting, Oogway, like Oogway's Oogway Ascends, all those different pieces.
Yeah.
Not Crazy Train.
Yeah.
It just
you know,
feels so jarring.
Yeah, and by the way, do you know what is the most talk about song in this movie? Not Crazy Train.
Yeah.
Do you know what is the most talked about song in this movie?
Yep.
Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Ah, yes.
And to be fair, that's my favorite part of the entire movie. Just literally Jack Black saying "Hit me, baby, one more time."
True.
Yeah.
I just wanted to state that real quick.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the chase. I don't even know what to say about chase scene, but it's like I just really do not like that they made Aquafina so much more competent than Poe in this chase. They're just like, let's laugh at Poe being a stupid panda. It's like no, he's a dragon warrior. What the fuck? He should be leading her.
And it's like the other thing too is like the other movies, like all the movies are known for like a chase sequence in all the movies. So but like I feel like, and obviously like in a lot of those chase sequences, even in like the second and the third one, like it is kind of Poe BSing his way through the chase. This is kind of like a consistent theme with all four movies in that sense.
Mhm.
I do feel like his emotional maturity is still a bit too low for where he should be at this point. But yeah, I would say that is like a consistent thing for all four movies for the most part. Yeah. Then obviously they end up in the underworld, and yeah.
Oh fuck. They So my first question is, what the fuck is there even an underworld? If you know the twist already.
Oh.
No. Yeah, if you know the twist, it's like, okay, fuck, this shit doesn't even exist at this point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because you have to expect me to believe that all of these characters in the underworld do not know that the chameleon's apprentice is Aquafina, so that nobody could tell Poe about this revelation earlier. It's supposed to be a surprise, but if you're telling me that there is a criminal underworld, they should probably know that chameleon's apprentice is Aquafina. So
and
there's
not to
like
mention,
that problem, yeah.
and not to mention Aquafina, she's just like, oh fuck, you know there's a criminal underworld that hates me. Why don't you just take over them, chameleon? Fuck.
Uh,
Yeah. It's bullshit. This world is so bullshit. They just like it's basically just a stopping point, just a plot device for at the end. They're like, hey, we need some time to breathe. And so they, I don't know fucking what they said. So Pope pretends to be wise. It's like, I was like, hey, I'm gonna say something to like Uruguay. I don't
If you
what
don't do violence now, do more violence later.
is-
Which was that was the
That's-
misinterpretation.
yeah, that's the misinterpretation.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, yeah, that's one of the things. Like, is it that bad at making it? I didn't remember the last three movies. I was like, I don't think he's that bad at giving inspirational speeches.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever that bad, really.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of like he's trying to speak like an old man. I think that's what's like confusing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does say inspirational speeches, but he says them in his normal way, which I feel like you might as well just do that. You don't have to speak like an old man to give
Yeah,
advice,
and got a fucking criminal
or at least
underworld.
wise advice. Yeah,
Yeah, like they're not even students or something. They're fucking criminals. What were you doing?
yeah.
And
But and then the dads they're basically visiting the locations where Poe was previously. So they go back to the shack, and then which is like it's a funny sequence where where Bryan Cranston is basically pretending to be the Dragon Warrior's like
I was like,
brutal
that's
dad.
And James Hong, yeah.
Yeah.
The
James
two
Hong.
there in that scene was just like I legitimately that was the only time I like laughed in the theater because he punches the wood and he gets splinters in his fingers. I'm like trying to like I'm almost about to burst, but then he like puts the mahjong pieces in his mouth and then he bites them and he spits out teeth and I just laughed my ass off.
Yeah. It was like that was the only sequence I actually laughed at. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that was a good sequence.
Yeah, I was like, do you know that Panda? I taught him everything. The only thing I didn't taught him, mercy.
Yes. And then the whole entire shack falls at the end of it.
Yeah.
And then the bunnies are cheering too. And it's just
yeah, it was really good. Speaking of bunnies, the underworld bunnies.
Yay, they're
here on the poster as well. I mean, that's clearly like we got scary bunnies.
Don't you know they're such a pivotal? They're a pivotal part in the entire sequence.
Yay, they are so good.
You see, the bunnies here. Well, we have the fox Jen. Jen is a cousin of Nick from Zootopia, and this is Judy Hopps' bunnies.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where I was going with this. Keep going.
Yeah. So they go to Chameleon's palace.
No. Do you remember? Do you know who voiced one of the criminals?
Oh yeah, Ki Kwan.
Yeah. They just
I enjoyed his role there. I enjoyed hearing him there.
Yeah, for me. But to be honest, yeah, it's like, and they just like, here's his only role. He's a plot device. Go there. Bye. Fuck. By the way, this is my complaint about. Yeah, it's to be honest, my other complaint about this scene was like, dude, if you guys are so bad at understanding a lie, I was like, how the fuck are you not? Did you not get figured out already? It's not just one or two people. It's the entire underworld. It's like, oh fuck. If we stop doing violence now, we'll do more violence later. Yay! I was like, wow, how stupid are you guys? I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then right before they go into the palace, Poe has like he gives Jean a peach pit, which Shifu gave him as like the lesson is like, it's like it's kind of like sealing their friendship, which I don't buy at this point. And it's like, it's like if you have to like in order to you have to nurture the person in order to grow to become something better and something like that. Which again, it's a good line. It's just I don't buy this interaction where this is like where I believe that he truly believes her as a friend at this point in the movie, which
I agree.
that kind of goes into that bad pacing thing.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
And then you can see Aquafina's like giving kind of concerned faces. So yeah, she's definitely gonna do something later.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
They try to rip off the Tigress and Poe dynamic. Except the fact that
Yay.
Tigress is not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Or that Tigress is a better developed character than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the dads are pretty much going into the city as well, so they're looking for Poe. They found his fur. So yeah, they're tracking based on that. And then we go inside the. So you might have noticed, like, we have not talked that much about Chameleon. So the other movies do a pretty decent job, like, showing the perspective of the other villains, like, across the journey.
Yep.
Like, for the first film, we saw Tai Lung fight 1,000 prison guards, and then we saw him fight the Furious Five. Then we see him fight Shifu until we see him fight Poe. So we get a lot of perspective in terms of how good of a fighter Tai Lung is. Then for Shen, we get to see a little bit more because we see his backstory with his parents, how he's got an evil heart, his fate, and how he's going to die by someone black or white, and like how he goes for the genocide, which it wasn't really a genocide, but
Almost.
the effect is still in play.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we also go back to Shen, like, and the soothsayer, kind of like talking about how this fate has not changed no matter how many things he's trying to do to change it. So yeah, we see all this stuff with Shen, and then with Kai doesn't get too much in terms of the other two villains, but Kai does still get, like, we still see him, like, fighting the other like Crane and Mantis and the other masters as well.
He still has a presence.
He has a presence there, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, I mean,
And then eventually he does fight the Furious Five until Tigress escapes. Yeah. So we got to see them be villains and see how strong they are, how they're able to go up against some of the great Kung Fu masters. But then with Chameleon, all she had was just gets her goon to fall down the stairs. And then now she's back talking to Poe.
By the way,
but before we can get them talking to Poe, Poe gets caught in a trap.
No,
even before that, it was like they go through the manhole, and all the Chameleon guards are sleeping.
Which was like, which my first reaction is, wait, why the fuck are you guys sleeping? Are you guys guards?
I was so confused too. It's like, did a fight scene already happen and we just missed it? Like,
they were fighting each other and they just decided to sleep.
Yeah.
That was like the weirdest thing for me. It's like, yeah. And then because we saw this in the trailer too, so it's like.
But Red, funny fart joke.
Yeah.
To be honest, that was the laziest joke you can think of.
It's like none of the other movies did that, like a fart.
Yeah.
Go down a fart joke.
It's like, and they keep just making like Shen a stealthy master. Poe's like, oh, you see how clumsy he is? Like, fuck. I was like, I just keep thinking, he's a dragon warrior. Shut up. It's just
yeah. But yeah, they all wake up because of the fart, and then they still go inside.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I can't take it seriously. Where it's like the enemy wakes up to a fart.
And yeah.
But then it's like before he drops the manhole down the stairs. That didn't do anything. It's it's the Patrick
It's the
SpongeBob,
comedy thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Funny. And to be honest, everyone expected it. It's like, yeah, fuck. They're just gonna do something really, really stupid to just get that wake up. At the
Honestly,
very end.
here's my other thing too. Is like I rewatched those trailers. Like a lot of those scenes are in like pretty much the movie. Like you pretty much like if you supercut the movie, I mean supercut the trailer, you pretty much watch the movie for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially
Think of
like you saw
trailers
this
now.
this bit was here. The whole fight with Tai Lung and Chameleon and how she takes his power, like that's in the trailer too.
Yep.
Because they were trying to market Tai Lung as he's going to be in this movie, guys. And yeah, it's his only scene, by the way. So, but we'll get to that.
There's a bit more, but yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah. And then what do you call it?
The lie revealed.
Yeah.
Yay.
So yeah, Poe gets trapped in a cage. He's like, here, you use the staff to help prop it open because they were trying to lift up the cage. It wasn't working.
And himself, because like Paul was like, fuck, I'm gonna punch it. I was like, no, you used to. I was like, do you forgot what you can do? Just shoot like chi at dragon chi at this
Yeah.
cage.
I guess
That's all you-
the only pass I could maybe give it is like maybe the cage is like too small to do all those specific movements that he does, but it does, but it does hurt only mainly because like there is a layer of like below his feet that is open, but he figures that out later. So there's
Yeah,
that.
keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. This is a cage that is hard to get out of. We're gonna keep that in mind for a very big part later.
Yep.
But we now
But,
get to the very big, no, not big, very small problem in the room.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Yeah, so Poe gives his staff to Aquafina. It's like, here, use it to prop the cage up. Which I was just thinking, like, why don't you do it from your side? Like, you didn't have to let her do that to prop it up. Like, I don't know. Like, that was just kind of weird. But yeah, he gives it to her, and she's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, I need to be evil now. So she walks back, puts on a hood, gives which is the cringiest thing.
Yeah.
She puts on a hood and like gives the staff to the chameleons. Like, well done, my apprentice. So yeah, we're going Darth Vader on this stuff right here.
Yeah, and we just got stuck in this sequence for a while. Fuck, not just her motivation. It's also like how she does how she does everything, and how she plans stuff, and and what her next things are. It's like fuck.
Yeah, so yeah, this is the chameleon. By the way, the chameleon is voiced by Viola Davis. What a waste.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the first movie they got E.M. McShane.
He's here in this movie, but
yeah,
we'll get to that.
The second one, he's played by Gary Oldman. Great guy, great actor.
Yep.
Not in this movie.
Yep.
Because he's not in this movie at all.
Wow, some reason. And third movie, J.K. Simmons. Wow.
Yep.
Also not in this movie.
but you know who is in this movie? The chameleon and the chameleon's motive, which is very ridiculous and very stupid.
Yeah,
let's get
the chameleon has always wanted to be.
Let's just stop.
Yeah.
I just want to start with the least problematic thing in this scene.
Sure.
So Poe was like, who are you? And then Chameleon was like, okay, I'm the chameleon, and here's my entire backstory. I'm gonna tell you right now. I was like, fuck you. You said it out. You just said it out because reasons.
Well, because the rest of the movie hasn't done it at all, and
this
is all the chameleon will get.
Yeah,
just
especially when, like, as we talked about comparing the other villains, they just do a way better job establishing who they are, why they're a threat, how they're a threat, and then and their motivations are at least different, like very different from each other.
Yep.
And then, so we'll get to that problem right now.
Yeah.
The chameleon wanted to be a kung fu master, but she is not. So okay, there's a little bit of Shen there. Though Shen can fight, by the way, but Shen is not like a master at kung fu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the problem was she kept going from dojo to dojo, but they always kept telling her that she could not be trained in kung fu because she was too small.
And this is the first time I basically use profanity. If I haven't, then here we go. But
Yeah.
this is the first time. Fuck that. No.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like for me with movies, I have a suspension of disbelief and
Yeah.
just try and think about it. And when I heard that motive, I immediately thought of Mantis and Viper. These are two kung fu masters. Their size is not as big as a boar. Viper,
Right.
it doesn't have hands or legs, and they still kick ass.
Yeah.
And yet the chameleon, the chameleon. There's even Master Chicken in Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You know what's worse?
yeah, what's
Aquafina's character is shorter than Chameleon, and she is a kung fu master in a way, because she can fight Poe very easily, and yet she's shorter than Chameleon, character design wise, and she does just fine in kung fu, and Chameleon can't do that. All right,
yeah,
obviously,
it's also,
and we
it's
also,
also
but yeah,
straight-
Mantis is like, dude, you
Come
can't be serious. Mantis
Yeah.
was in all of your movies.
Yeah. It's also very frustrating. And this was a point I think that was brought up by Saberspark in his video. It was the fact that, the chameleon doesn't know Kung Fu, yet she has an assistant that does know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So wouldn't the assistant be teaching the master about Kung Fu?
Yeah, what? Yeah, no, it's even worse than that, because if you go through the dialogues in this movie, it was like, she literally said, I know all your moves.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That too is like the community is like, you're right. When they start doing when they do their fight scene later in the movie, it's just like, yeah, I know all your moves. You can't surprise me or anything like that. Okay. So how did she get her moves? It's like I guess the origin is that Aquafina's character was like, she was like a street rat, and then she tried to steal like a fruit from her throne.
No,
Because she stood up to the queen, no problem, and it's like, I should have her as my apprentice.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so she was fearless, and that's why you got her. Fair enough. So am I supposed to believe that this master got this apprentice, and that's how she learned how to fight as well? No, I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all either.
I don't. Even that, I've issues with the backstory. It's like, fuck. It's yeah. That's like, everyone memed about it. It's like, I'm small. It's like literally everyone pointed it out. It's
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like the only motivation is because I'm small and I wasn't allowed to learn kung fu. It's ridiculous. Shifu is small. Mantis is small. Viper doesn't have hands. You got chickens.
Yeah.
Chameleon is. This is really stupid.
And by the way, Poe was like, "Fuck." I can teach you. Teacher say something like, "What? Wait, what the fuck?" To be honest, if Poe was like, "Wait, what master do you find?" Because fuck you, I teach a bunch of random villagers how to do kung fu in the last movie.
Yep.
She taught a lot of babies, a lot of adults, a lot of old people. Like, he's taught a lot of ages in terms of like kung fu.
Yep.
So I don't really know if like, did you try the Jade Palace?
Yeah. No, I mean,
She said she's been to every dojo, so it's like, which is also kind of weird too. It's like, then it's like, I have to assume.
Well,
did you go to the Jade Palace?
chameleon.
Otherwise, nobody knows the chameleon.
Well, you see, the chameleon, she's very powerful, right? And let's see here. She's also very rich. So she probably knew about the Jade Palace, but because she had to like pay a little fee or something just to practice under Poe's lineage or whatever, that's probably why she didn't learn Kung Fu. She didn't want to pay.
I mean, to be honest, I thought Poe did it for free. from the
Oh
last.
no,
movie.
he did. But she
It's
she
a
probably
bit
just
better
she probably instead of it thinking that it's free, she probably heard 3. That it costs
than that.
3. 3 what? She didn't know, so she never went.
Ah,
yeah,
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah,
And
it's
yeah, so that's kind of like the thing, and
that's
um,
yeah,
obviously Poe is like hurt with the whole betrayal from Aquafina, which is like I don't think it's. I'm not gonna say this is out of character. Like I do feel like he would be betrayed. Like he would think of her as a friend eventually,
Yeah.
and then be betrayed by that. It's just like I don't really buy the friendship enough for this to be earned. But like
Yep.
I don't think this is out of character.
Oh yeah,
will
no,
clarify
definitely
with
not.
that.
it just didn't have any impact. That's
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's mainly the thing.
yeah. Also, by the way, do you notice that the chameleon just like I go to sorcery? It's like, oh fuck, what
Yeah,
is
she's like,
sorcery?
oh, since Kung Fu didn't do it, I just went straight to sorcery. It's like, oh, so sorcery exists like that.
What's like? Wait, okay, do you want to elaborate more? It's like, no, fuck, no, stop. That's it. It's like,
Yeah, because
what
the
fuck
franchise
is-
doesn't want to explain sorcery in this universe.
So I,
mean,
guess there's
That's kind of a
chi,
simple way.
and then there's sorcery.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, they did. It's not like they spent the second movie explaining what is inner peace, or the third movie explaining what is chi. Yeah, sorcery is too much to explain.
Yeah, and plus, like with Shen, like he was like a mechanical genius, so it's like he's using weapons against like rudimentary weapons, but like weapons against kung fu masters and all that. So yeah, like you can see like development among like in terms of like the villains and their power sets, but here it's like sorcery, which is like not chi. So, but what else is that? Not really much. And to be honest, she doesn't really go that deep with her sorcery bag either. So, like in terms of like her fight sequences, like I mean, the most extent we get is really just the shape shifting.
Yep.
Yeah, and just throw her tongue, just suck people's chi. I think.
By using her tongue.
Yes.
That can like suck an entire
Yes.
chi out of the person. Which
Oh god.
we'll get to that. Yeah, so that's pretty much the chameleon's backstory. And,
Do you want to talk about her fucking genius plan?
and what was her plan?
So you see her. Okay, so her plan is simple. She just wants to steal the staff. That's it, right?
Yep.
So how does she
Yeah.
go about it? So at first, she was like, she just turned into Tai Lung, was like, I want the Dragon Warrior. Okay, sure. And then she just sent Aquafina to steal the staff. Was like, what the fuck? We even need to announce your Tai Lung if you just gotta send Aquafina just steal it. And by the way, I'm not gonna tell you who the Dragon Warrior is, because because
Why would
I
I?
don't. Yeah, I was like, what? It's like, it's not like I send you steal stuff, and it's not like I need to tell you how this guy looks, and the most powerful warrior in China.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it was, so which was like just makes you turn your Tai Lung redundant. What's the point?
To have people clap that they remember Tai Lung.
Oh yay, I'm happy. I mean, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna turn to Tai Lung, was like, wouldn't the best option just for you just send Aquafina, just go into a store step, was like, fuck, please help me. Tai Lung is attacking my palace. He's holding the king there hostage or something. Instead, just like, hey, I'm just gonna have her go to there,
steal it. Yeah.
and just have in the prison, just go like, haha, fuck you. And by the way, I'm gonna tell you that Tai Lung is not Tai Lung. It's like, what the fuck is that plan?
Yeah, I could see that perspective because like I feel like you want to have people believe that Tai Lung is real and then not reveal the chameleon is the chameleon. I just feel like I feel like they kind of simpled it down for a kid audience so that they don't get confused.
Yeah,
Which is a little annoying because I felt like the other movies did a way better job treating their kids like adults or like in terms of like like they respected their kid audiences to understand some of these themes.
Yeah, it's quite insane. Also, by the way, if you go through later in the movie, you just realize, oh, that's a time limit. She had to do it in this specific time, and she did all this just to waste time. It's like fuck. What? It's like you just want the staff, so you just either need to turn Tai Lung and just have Aquafina walk to the door.
Right,
And just like,
the time limit
Yeah.
of the blood moon.
yeah, it's like it's
I-
like yeah. If it's like you should just do the Tai Lung thing or just send her to steal the staff. Instead, just like okay, let's do both, which is like okay, you just waste time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I definitely think. Oh, so sorry.
no,
You go
it's-
first.
Yeah, you just waste time if like if the Thailand plan like okay, so you just what you did is basically the Thailand plan doesn't really matter anyways, and it's just she just go to steal the staff.
So
And
I will say that Tai Lung matters in the sense that like it does get Poe to interact, but like so like that's what gets Poe to go on this quest. But then it's like, but then he's told that it's not actually Tai Lung. This is the chameleon, which I still don't really know why you would need to do that. You could just say it was Tai Lung and then just keep it that way.
yeah, and yeah, it's and also
Yeah,
and
but yeah, I do think Tai Lung is important for the plan because that's what gets Poe to go on this quest
but yeah,
for the
it's
most
like
part.
yeah, but it's like so if I was doing this plan, I was like I would just have her just turn to Tai Lung, have Aquafina go to his doorstep. It's like help me, Tai Lung is attacking my palace. Blah blah blah. Stop! Just remove the stealing the staff stuff because
Yeah,
she's
something
she's
like
fighting the dragon warrior.
that.
and
you don't
you know,
want her
and
to reveal she's evil, and she's supposed to be a master actor, quote
yeah,
unquote.
yeah, and it's like it's fucking
So, yeah.
insane. Also, and it's like and the chameleon also just didn't tell her that by the way the staff should be on the dragon warrior. Well, I
And
mean,
the Dragon Warrior is a panda, by the way.
yeah, I was like, it's insane because the chameleon's plan basically, I'm just gonna do a lot of redundant things that's gonna waste time. Also, tell my fucking apprentice to steal something, and I don't even tell her who are you stealing from.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we can safely say now that we're just like talking about the final act at this point, and I will say, I think this is the part personally that I just didn't like the most. Like, to me, the rest of the movie, if it was just the way it was and it was generic, then I would have been like, okay, at least it wasn't insulting in any manner. It was boring, yeah, but the final act,
Yeah.
oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we
So
we
Poe
still have
does
yeah.
Poe does escape, which is because so he wasn't able to punch the cage because the thing is made of old magic thingy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or
basically fake shit for you
it's
to
like
just
I got the counter to counter your counter. So it's like that kind
Yep.
that
Yeah.
meme. It was like, so I'm gonna punch the hole instead under the ground. So yeah, he breaks the hole under the ground. He could have done that earlier, but all right, he's doing it now. It's like, damn, I forgot that I have to also seal the ground as well. So yeah, they go. So he has this fight scene with the chameleon guards, and then he heads outside, and then Aquafina has the staff in his hand. It's like, Poe, you had to. I had to take this off of her. She's like, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. It's like, but then it turns out he's actually talking to the chameleon, which now I have a question. Like when we see the chameleon shapeshift, her eyes are very visibly still the chameleon, but here and then even the Tai Lung scene in the opening scene, like she keeps the eyes of those characters so that it doesn't trick them. So there's some inconsistencies in terms of like how the chameleon shapeshifts. But yeah, then Aquafina's character is like, no, that's not me, and then the chameleon reveals herself and then knocks Poe off the bridge.
Which was like, wait, I thought you don't know Kung Fu. How the fuck do you know how to backflip kick Poe to the water?
Because Aquafina knows how to do it. Can you copy powers? No, because like she even says like, yeah, I can look like Tai Lung, but I don't know how to fight as him. So
Oh, well, fuck you, because you also know how to jump like him, and also throw heavy objects like him. In the
yeah.
opening, by the way, they didn't. They that's what they said, and they
Yeah,
didn't
and
keep
then
it
that's it.
consistent.
That's her explanation to Poe in terms of like, yeah, I can look like him, I can't fight like him.
I think it's probably just since she has the body of Tai Lung, she's able to like have a little bit of the strength, but yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
understand the fighting part. I feel like
Right.
since she has the strength, she can throw stuff, but definitely weird with the kung fu that she just gets there.
Yeah, was
Yeah,
like,
with Aquafina's character, yeah.
yeah, and then she was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and then Aquafina's like, oh, we weren't supposed to hurt him. It's like, and then the chameleon's like, oh, remember what those 3 rules I taught you before? It's like, the last one is nobody cares about your feelings. The second one is
yeah,
somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt, and then
yeah, and to be honest, she just started to feel bad for no reason. To be honest, it's like, yeah, Aquafina
Yeah.
just like, I feel bad. It's like, why?
so that they can redeem her.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like you keep helping this
We need
crime
her to
lord.
be the Dragon Warrior,
Yeah.
right? So we don't want her to be too irredeemable. So
Yeah,
fair enough.
it's insane because they just like, oh fuck, why did you do that? I was like, motherfucker, you're a criminal. You did all the evil shit in this movie and didn't feel bad for any of those.
But hey, at least Poe and like his dads are back together, and then he decides to, since he's like, this is my mistake, I gotta fix it. And at that same time, the chameleon's doing the Blood Moon Festival thingy. And this is where we get Tai Lung officially back.
Yeah, so she uses the staff to open the portal to.
And by the way, they just did a fucking Marvel humor. It's like, oh fuck, here's the Blood Moon. It's like, wait, fuck, it's not here. Fuck, what did I do this pose again? I was like, oh,
it's dramatic. I just wanted to be dramatic, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like, yeah, she uses the staff to open the spirit realm, which is kind of curious because like Poe is able to do that, but like we see Chameleon use it. I guess like, so when you were going on the spiel about the Chameleon in terms of like the staff, I do have my own questions, like in terms of like, okay, so you didn't know who was the Dragon Warrior. How do you know that he has the staff and all that stuff? How do you know what the staff does that it can open the spirit realm? Things like that. Like,
yeah, how do you know he has it? That's the thing. He only
how
got
do you know
it.
He has it. How do you know that it opens portals to the spirit realm?
Yeah.
How do you even know how to do it?
Yeah.
How do you know how to use it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I thought this was something that Oogway only had.
Yeah.
No, he only has it in the spirit realm. When he died, he doesn't have it. So I was like, what? And when did he get it? It's like, it's not even publicly announced.
It's like, how do you know the legend of it when it was just there for like a month, maybe?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and he only got it in a hidden village.
Yeah, and then here she says, like in her spiel to her goons, like, I'm going to steal the kung fu of all of the villains. Only the villains, though. It's like, wow, you're really limiting yourself. Well, one, you're referring to yourself as a villain, which none of the other villains used to do that.
Yep.
They felt like they were in the right, despite their point of view. Which is like, yeah, I agree with that. But here it's like, no, I'm going to steal all of the chi from the villains, which is it's very stupid. And then secondly, it's like, just so lucky we don't take Oogway's powers or something like that.
That's supposed to think.
Yeah, and it's so stupid.
And then I will admit, seeing Tai Lung on the big screen, because I had seen Kung Fu Panda on the smaller screen at home, so seeing him on the big screen was like, oh shit. And seeing him fight a bit was very cool too.
It's the best fight scene.
Oh yeah, because I'll say it right now. I don't think the fights are as good or on par as the last 3. Yeah. They just feel very low compared to the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least personally.
Yeah, I agree. I would say this fight scene it's the best in terms of like it feels like one is in character of Tai Lung, and two it's
Yeah.
like it really shows off how much of a badass he is.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
taking out all
it's
the chameleon goons, using his paralyzed touch, and
yeah,
all that.
and and it also showcase like, okay, here's how powerful the chameleon is. She just like stole after casually beats up all the guards, she just one shots him.
With
Like-
her tongue, and like that one tongue can like suck out the entire chi energy of Tai Lung, and then yeah, it's like, oh, I got the power of Tai Lung, and yeah, now she's a kung fu master with Tai Lung, and now she's like, all right, now let's do that one by one with all the other villains,
And
Yeah.
Tai Lung's put in a
after-
cage.
and put Tai Lung in a cage as
And
well.
by the way, I don't know how does that work. It's like, hey, just call the further names. They just arrive here. It's like, what the fuck? How does that work?
Yeah,
Don't worry about
yeah.
it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, and then yeah, so she's just like so then there's this whole like third act low point with Poe and all that. It's like
Oh wait,
Aquafina's like,
actually, real quick,
yeah,
they show Kai, Kai, the villain in the third movie, coming through the portal. Here's the thing, though. Kai in the third movie literally exploded.
yep.
Yeah.
So how the fuck is he here?
We need people to remember the third movie.
And
yeah.
then there's also the fact that apparently, from what I know, the spirit realm is like for the Kung Fu masters. And then Shen comes through. Shen isn't a Kung Fu master.
Yeah. And it's like it's more insulting too. It's like you don't like they obviously could not afford Gary Oldman and J.K. Simmons to come back for these films. So it's like at that point, just don't put them in the movie.
Yeah.
If they're not going to talk, they're iconic villains, but they're not going to talk.
I mean, yeah.
And then and it really doesn't make sense because Shen is not a kung fu master at all. And then
Yeah.
Kai, he exploded in the spirit realm.
I mean,
Unlike Tai Lung, because like in what Tai Lung used to say is that what Kai explained is like Tai Lung was like immortal. That's why the Wuxi finger hold worked on him. It doesn't work on a spirit like Kai. So yeah, when Poe kills Kai in the spirit world, a spirit in the spirit world, that's seems like Dunzo to me, but I guess not.
Yeah, it's I don't even know what to say about this at this. I was like, they clearly just want to do it because they remember this film. I was like, oh yeah, how does that work? It's like, shut up.
I don't even know what this trilogy is going to be.
And speaking of just remember that scene from Kung Fu Panda 2 where Tigress and Poe had like a very cool moment when Tigress hugs him and like just because he's going through all this trauma and everything. Let's have Shen and Poe like do a little fight, and then Shen is like worried about Poe now, and like being like saying, "Hey, this is like your greatest enemy. You shouldn't go against them." And then she does the hug, and since Kung Fu Panda 2 did it, we're doing it here. Feel emotional, yay!
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, do we want to do a comparison? How does that scene work? So yeah, like okay.
Do we even need to?
I mean, it's
and then they go back to the village and to the criminal underworld, and it's like, oh, we need to recruit you guys to help Poe, and then she does her own kind of speech thing where it's like, I don't know, it's like a bad Proverbs joke again, and so she gets the dads and the and all the criminals to help. The funny scene with Bryan Cranston, he's trying to do the same thing.
No, we skip the fact that Poe the pep talk. They want to talk about that shit.
Which pep talk?
The Poe just said, "Oh, I'm afraid of change."
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
God.
That's again, like this film has a lot of stuff where it might make sense if a previous movie Poe would say that, but not this Poe where he should be at right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of retreading with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and also the fact that then when they come was like Poe was like, "Oh, why did you guys come? We love you." It's like Poe was like, no, you guys just don't believe me." It was like they were like, "Yeah." Like,
yeah.
That was like, fuck you. Like, this guy's the Dragon Warrior. He beats all three of the strongest villains in China.
Yeah, no, I do get the whole concerned dad thing, but it does feel like they were kind of there because they want to include them, but they don't know how to include them.
Yeah,
But guys, the
Especially like when you
chameleon,
yeah.
yeah,
the chameleon is the greatest threat that Poe has ever gone against.
Source.
She's too tiny. He can't handle the tininess.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Source.
she's a sorceress. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like that sounds super powerful. I
That's
hope
like-
we get to see that sorcery.
Yeah, and remember those two dads didn't just follow her. Do you remember Pink followed him to fight Lord Shan? Hey, remember that? I clearly remember that. He's there.
Yeah,
Doing all
I
the
do think some of it came from like the success of like one of the things that was like credited for Kung Fu Panda 3 was the dads, like their interactions with each other.
Oh yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
and then like the second movie, like introducing the whole adoption thing and the whole. So I definitely see. I understand the value of having the two dads in the movie. I just think the problem was like they were trying to figure out how to keep them in the movie longer.
Yeah.
Than, and this is
Yeah.
kind of like what they decided to do with them.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the
But-
third movie, it makes sense because Bryan Cranston has to bring Poe to learn Chi because he has to do it to defeat Kai.
And
Ping
then
does it.
Ping is
yeah.
going because he's jealous of Bryan Cranston,
Yeah, because
and that's fair.
yeah, it's fair.
Ping is one of the best dads ever in cartoons. One of the
Yeah.
best
Oh, yeah.
dads ever.
Until this movie, and it's like fuck. I was like,
I think he's okay.
I think he's
in
okay.
this
Yeah, I
movie.
think he's.
Yeah.
I think he's all right. The
Yeah,
dads
just-
are okay in this. What's
Yeah,
not okay is the fucking final fight. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
first off, yeah, and then Awkwafina brings like the whole criminal underworld to help for why. I mean, they even ask her why, and she's like because it's the right thing to do, and then they
I was
all
like-
laugh.
I mean, to be honest, I was like, fuck you. How stupid are you? Just say that. This is what you say. If you don't do it, you are gonna die.
It's better than trying to say it's the right thing to do to all the criminals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was very stupid. Yeah, I'll admit.
Yeah. So they go ahead. Bryan Cranston does like the bit again where he tries to scare the chameleons.
Yeah, which is
But
like
then he runs away because they didn't buy it at all.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
then
So
the
it's like-
three little bunnies, the rabbit bunnies, they're the ones who are able to take care of the chameleons, while the two dads are like enjoying a pina colada. That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, those are some funny bits. They're the best characters, even though they have some issues. That
Yeah.
was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, while that's happening, Chameleon is still continuing the whole cheese stealing thing. So I'm just like thinking about it in this spirit realm. It's like, okay, so a lot of they keep saying they should probably keep seeing like the doors keep opening and closing to the mortal world and all that. And there's like one person comes in, one person comes out of the spirit realm and then is gone. And then they keep doing that for every single villain. I just feel like so are none of the villains like getting suspicious? Like, oh, the door keeps opening quite a bit, and we're getting less and less numbers here. I guess like none of them are prepared to fight the chameleon because chameleon is just bring them in, one shot tongue, takes the power, puts them in a cell, and then she keeps doing that. I don't know, and nobody puts up a fight.
I
Yeah,
was like, how does that work?
And these are all kung fu masters.
Yeah, and it's like, what about Kai? The guy who knows to steal powers. He should be affording that shit.
yeah.
Oh.
And then like Poe sees he sees like the villains. He has a very just like low reaction to Shen, the guy who literally killed his mom and like his species almost fully. He's like like Lord Shen, just like Lord Shen, like that's it. And then like Tai Lung is there too, and I still remember like kind of like the quote where Tai Lung is speaking to Poe and saying like, I don't understand why Master Oogway chose you. And he's like saying the doubts that he had always had. And Poe's like, I can fix this, I promise. And like Tai Lung in a line that I actually thought was like pretty nice hearing from Tai Lung. Like the only thing I see is a broken one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Honestly, So I did have my thing about Tai Lung and Poe in general, but I'm saving that for the once we finish the movie.
Oh yeah.
Especially the wasted opportunity that they could have had with this movie.
Yep.
But yeah, yeah. So Poe goes in. Chameleon has all the powers of. It's like I am all of the villains in the
Yay.
Palpatine way, which is
Yeah.
which is just like again, just I guess we just can't get Master Uguay's powers, despite
Yeah.
how easy this was to just steal every villain's kung fu powers like this. And yeah, they just basically have a fight scene.
And to be honest,
And
I don't-
she's like turning into all these other villains, and all that stuff. Well, just like I feel like that was like the deception in the marketing. Like it felt like Poe was going to be fighting all of these villains, but no, it's just Chameleon turning into these villains like one by one and all that. So
to be
it's
honest,
really deceptive marketing.
how cool is it if she can do it right in the beginning instead of just like, hey, let's just throw everything at the end.
But guys, there's a sequence where he fights himself. Isn't that cool? The imagery, next to each other, the bad versus the good.
whatever.
And it's like, and my other thing too is like with that is you could have just used your tongue, that tongue sucking power the entire time, and
yeah,
does do that.
Yeah, why don't you just do that when he's trapped?
And then drain his power so that he cannot be a kung fu master anymore.
Yeah,
that would actually bring a threat.
That would be a threat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that should be a low point. Just have her suck out the powers, and he has to find another way to get chi back. It's like, I mean, they're just stealing that from the third movie, but fuck, at this point, might as well. You guys suck at writing that much.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we're saying. Like Chameleon has a lot of traits from the other movies, but like still worse because especially because of how redundant some of these story beats are for her character.
Yeah,
and it's still stupid considering that her main motivation is because she wasn't taught kung fu because she was too small.
Yeah.
And that's why. And by the way, do you know what is she gonna do if she got all the powers? Okay, I'm gonna steal all the powers, and I'm gonna do
rule the world,
take over the world.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Conceptually, the Chameleon like having traits of like the other three villains, like from the three movies. If this were like a continuing sequel, like the fact that it's even like kind of like the start of a new trilogy in such a way, and it's like reflecting off of like the first movie, like kind of reflecting back here and there in this first movie's like trilogy here. Like I think that's like conceptually a nice idea, but it's not done well. It's just not done well.
Yeah, I agree. Because like obviously, like in the first film, like the whole thing was like with Poe like needing to become the Dragon Warrior despite not feeling like he deserved it, and here he wants to keep being the Dragon Warrior, not want to give it up to somebody else. But like that doesn't really go anywhere. That's kind of the problem with this movie in general. It's like it feels like you have a decent idea, but it doesn't make any sense. Like in terms of like why are we rushing him to not be the Dragon Warrior anymore? And then you don't really feel that impact until the end of the movie, which is it's not even an impact really. But
it's
what I mean.
More of a disgrace.
Definitely.
Yeah.
God.
So it's like this whole thing is like, I'm afraid of change. Oh, okay.
I mean, to be honest, that's ironic.
If you say so.
Yeah, it's so ironic.
Well,
yeah, he's afraid of change, and then it's like, but like and then she's like, it's like, with Aquafina's character, it's like, I used to be bad, now how am I supposed to be good? You have to accept change, like I am trying to do that. So, okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I just need to talk about. It's like, I don't know what to say. It's like, okay, so the Aquafina and Poe, it's like, do you remember Aquafina hugging Poe? Was like, oh fuck, that's emotional. It's like, no, the context is you're stopping him from saving the world, and there's no alternative.
Yeah,
it's that stupid. He just, yay, and that's the implication. So basically, the writers try to make Aquafina a good person, but what you did is basically she just doomed the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that final battle, so evil Poe, it gets to the point where she kicks his ass enough, and then like she's basically throwing all the metal pieces at him, and like using the firepower from the fire-breathing croc, which I guess that was a funny bit.
Yeah.
Like because he keeps thinking the guy's name is Steve, but it's actually Scott. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, so she's using that to like pretty much lock him in the cage, and now he's like completely covered in a ball of. So he's like, oh, he can get out of that. He can get out of that, but he's not going to do that because we need Aquafina to come in and kick the ass of the chameleon.
Butt.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. By the way, she just
she takes the staff from Poe, and this time she uses that same dragon chi move that Poe did in the bar to beat the chameleon.
Yay!
Because she totally knows how to do that. Because
and she totally earned that.
Yeah, do you want? If someone just bring, but everyone knows how to do chi. Well, yeah, after they have to learn it.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that like what you were saying with like Poe getting stuck into that ball thing. Like when we saw it, it was like a ball. Like it was hard to like get out. But then of course, what happens is that after the chameleon is down for a second, then like
Poe is out of the cage.
Out of the cage, and even Aquafina is like, wait a minute, you could get out the whole time? Yeah, but I wanted to give you the shot. And literally my friend was sitting next to me and being like, what the fuck? He literally said that like in the theater. It wasn't loud, but I heard it and I just tried to not giggle.
Yeah. It's like, I could have done it the whole time. It's like you like my Master Ugo used to tell me that, like, you're never really going to learn if you don't do it. But it's like, again, it's like it would be a good arc if it was earned. That's my thing. Because it's a good exchange, and it's like or if Aquafina's character was like good enough of a character where you can buy this sort of thing. Where
at this
that's
point
the other thing too. It's like there's a decent idea here, is what I'm trying to say.
But in context, what do you mean is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trust Aquafina to beat this person, and Aquafina is clearly not as skilled as me. He doesn't know she doesn't know any moves that I know. She's constantly being belittled by the master. She's just an apprentice, I'm just gonna put the fate of the world to Aquafina.
Yeah, that's the other problem too.
Yeah, it's like the implications, man.
Yeah, and then I felt like then they did this thing where Poe fights the chameleon. So it's like I feel like they probably did this just so that they don't. She beat the villain. Poe didn't do anything. So it's like no, there was like they add an extra bit where Poe pretty much like returns all the chi back to all the other villains, and then all the villains come out of their cells. And again, this is like a part where I could like it if it was a decent script, like where all the villains like bow respect to Poe. It's just, but like I think my problem with here is like I really don't know why Tai Lung or Shen would, or even Kai. I mean, I don't know why they would like respect Poe.
Yeah.
Mostly Shen and Shen.
That was
I don't know why he would.
That was the moment that legitimately like pissed me off in the theater, and even it was not only just me, like my friends and I were like a little bit pissed, and my friends made this joke, like they were laughing to themselves, and like I asked them after the movie was finished, like, what were you laughing about? And they're like, oh yeah, all these villains now, they're just like, oh yeah, bro, we're cool now.
Yeah, because it's not like he just borderline killed you guys.
It's just like, it's so bizarre to me that Poe is seeing the man who literally killed his mother is bowing to him and is like, respect. What?
That's insane.
That is just so insane to me. And then like Kai, again, he's not supposed to be there. Tai Lung, I can see the possibility of Tai Lung if they did a good redemption for him, but they did nothing. Yeah,
and that's definitely one of my biggest disappointments with this movie is like what they could have done with Tai Lung, especially with this idea of bringing him back.
Ah,
Especially he's the one villain where you can actually do like a really good story with, like, if you wanted to treat it like a hero and a villain have to team up to deal with a bigger threat.
oh
Like
my
a
goodness.
Goku Vegeta, Goku Frieza kind of thing. It
Yeah.
would've been so-
Yeah.
I would have loved that so much.
Yeah, it would have been so cool. But no,
Yeah.
it's and
It's,
then, they
yeah.
just
and, like,
opened the
you can
doorway.
end. Yeah, it's like one of the better, like, I mean, like one of the better parts of like those kind of stories is, like, the two different ideologies, hero and villain, plus like
Yeah.
they have their own banter, their own way of how to go about things, and then in the end they have their own mutual respect. I mean, like, it's really easy to make a good movie out of that. Obviously, it all depends on the interaction, the dialogue, and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you could definitely take advantage of Tai Lung and Po in this dynamic. I wish that was on the table than what they went with.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
Yep.
all they do is open the portal, and then everybody is like going back in the spirit realm.
To
Tai
be
Lung
honest,
takes Chameleon with him.
yeah.
Yeah, see you around, buddy. And
Oh
then,
no, they're like, no, it's not even that. It's like we'll be waiting, Dragon Warrior, I believe.
yeah,
And that was it.
felt like it was
Yeah.
earned.
And I
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
legitimately mad at that. Like,
It's like,
uh,
yeah, it's like, and that could have been an arc too. It's like where Tai Lung finally accepts Po as the Dragon Warrior.
if we only had a movie,
If there was a movie
instead.
about it, yeah.
Yay! That's to be honest, even Aquaman 2 did that.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
that movie, but I heard it's not very good. Anyways,
It's bad,
Yeah.
but it did what you just said. A hero and a villain team up to stop something, and the villain just respects the hero at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and well, we can definitely say that it's easy to say like what happens. Like Zhen is now like the new apprentice under the Dragon Warrior. She's gonna be learning the ways. Shifu is not very
pissed.
happy about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the after credits.
Yeah.
Oh, those after credits, I didn't stay around. You can reveal them to me. That's fine.
Oh, you didn't know? Okay.
Oh, you mean the credit scene, right?
Yes,
Alright,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
the credit thing.
Yeah, the credit scene. It's like we're going into the Jade Palace. Like, we need to start your training. I brought some friends who can help you out, and the door is open, and it's the Furious Five. We haven't seen them all movie. What are they going to do now? There's not really that much time left. No. So the training is that they are doing the credits, like the music in the background. It's not kung fu fighting. Thank God, at least to avoid that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a music in the background, and the entire sequence is just the Furious Five training Aquafina how to do different things in their training dojo, and that's it. That's all they use the Furious Five for.
And that's the end of the movie.
And they don't even speak. None of them.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
Seth Rogen screamed. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, I remember all those moves that they used to do in the first movie with, like, when they were doing their training sequences. Yeah, I
Yep.
remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely clapped when I saw that.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was
that
a
was
disappointment.
the movie. The
This
start of
was
a
a
new
disappointment.
trilogy.
Yeah. So I feel like this is a part that I can be able to say a lot about, if I'm allowed to, of course, because I've looked into it, the behind the scenes with this movie.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, of course, we know about the whole trilogy thing. Jeffrey Katzenberg, when he pitched the idea for the movie, it was originally a 6-movie franchise. And back then, it's like, oh, that seems like a very interesting idea. But now, since we saw, the end of Kung Fu Panda 3, we look at it and then see this movie and we're like, do we really want it? It just seems more like it's marketing for money than it is to continue the story. And there is a reason that a lot of the movie is very unpolished. I will say that this goes into just the account of just DreamWorks's DreamWorks executives push on the management of the team, and also the director Mike Mitchell being given complete creative control, as I can see from a Q&A with the Kung Fu Panda 4 co-director, her name being, I'm just going to search it up real quick just so that way I don't butcher it. Kung Fu Panda 4 co-director, their name being Stephanie Mustine. And she's been at DreamWorks for a little while. And so a lot of people say that they don't know if this is a Q&A that we can take to full credibility, but knowing that this person has been with DreamWorks for a while now and was, of course, the co-director, I'm still going to take into account. So here's the thing, in case this may be new to you guys. So original plans, some of the original plans for Kung Fu Panda 3 were, oh boy, you're going to love this. Originally, Kung Fu Panda 4 was going to be a live-action animated hybrid.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, wait, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, so the original ideas, get ready for this. The original ideas of the, I need to find it here. I'm looking through Q&A, but what it was is that it was going to be that they were going to go, yes, here it is. The original story was supposed to be hybrid live action animation. That's why there were humans. For some reason, before I came on, the leadership team scrapped the hybrid live action idea. They kept the humans on for a while, though, up until our second animatic screening, if I remember correctly. It was going to be originally called Man City.
What?
And then the chameleon was going to be human. She was actually known as the Collector before we ditched the humans idea. So already, the idea of a live-action animated hybrid just sounds bonkers. It just sounds ridiculous. Then there's the fact that you guys were talking a lot about how these villains, like, Shen just comes in, doesn't really do anything. Furious 5, they don't do anything. Yeah. Well, of course, they didn't get the original voice actors back. But it's also because these were very last-minute additions to the film.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep, they were very last.
I can tell.
Yeah, very last-minute additions to the film, and their models, I quote from models that Stephanie Mustine quotes. Their models were also made of sticks and glue.
What?
Yep. Like, basically, in the animation industry with 3D animation, all the characters are built on what are called rigs. They're skeletons of the character. You have, like, points across the body to be able to move a joint or move a part of the arm for whatever style of animation you want to do. Right. And basically, when you hear that a rig was basically made of sticks and glue, that isn't a very good sign. That just means, hold on, there's something bad going on here. If your rig models are sticks and glue, yeah, no, it's not good. And then there's also the fact that you guys were talking about the potential that Tai Lung had.
Right.
Yeah.
There were original ideas. Let me see here. I'm trying to find it. There was an original idea that with Tai Lung, because we forgot to mention this in a sequence. A sequence in the movie that we forgot to mention was that while they were headed to Juniper City, Poe was sleeping and then had a nightmare about the chameleon's plans.
Right.
Originally, what happened was that the chameleon was going to. Oh yes, here it is. It was originally going to be that Shifu would get kidnapped by the chameleon in Tai Lung form.
But yeah, why did you start the movie with that? At least that is actually intimidating.
So it would have been kidnapped by the chameleon. Then there was the fact that Poe sets out on the adventure in order to stop her. Shifu still gets kidnapped anyway because she's manipulative. And that's like, he has a dream. Like, he has the vision during the nap of, like, the chameleon's destruction. The vision was going to be Shifu. It was going to be Shifu getting captured by what he thought would have been Tai Lung. Right. And then there was also the potentiality that Shifu was going to be there at the end so that he could say goodbye to Tai Lung. and that there would have been a little bit of interaction between the two there. And here's what Stephanie Mastine said. The executives loved this idea, but someone axed it.
What?
Yeah.
Yep. And then the biggest kicker of them all, the one that like had me fueling. So, like I said, Stephanie Mastine, she has been working with DreamWorks, but she had been working in the television department. And this was
Right.
her first like theatrical like role, you know? And so simply this was like her first time working in like the theatrical side of the industry. And when you're there, in that like position, you aren't seen as like one of the big guys. She even stated that when she was in that position, she was basically a quote unquote nobody. And that simply when it came to her like trying to express like opinions and thoughts in the story, all the control was in Mike Mitchell's hands. Mike Mitchell was like given by the executives almost unlimited creative freedom. And this is what he did with it. And even Jack Black said, this is in the document now, even Jack Black said that Mike Mitchell was the quote unquote comedy guy, and I was the person who brought things deeper and brought more heart.
Wow.
So simply, yes, the movie is definitely flawed, and I feel that like there are definitely a lot of things to think about that. The screenplay isn't as creative and intelligent as like the first two movies, or even as pretty good as the third movie. The director, as noticed here, as I brought up here in this document, which I'll link it to URED and Unity as well if you want to look more into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
They basically the director given creative freedom and wasn't essentially able to here's the thing. They were basically the chameleon. Her backstory was literally added in last minute. Her backstory. So here it is.
Being small.
So here it is. All right, I found it. So she says this. So many scrap backstories for the chameleon. This one I'm really passionate about. Lol. We had 2 test screenings 2 months apart. In each test screening, there was no backstory or motivation for the villain or even for Jen. All of us were pushing Mike to include backstories and motivations for these characters, but he pushed back. It was only after the second test screening that he agreed to include backstories, and by then, we were already in the middle of animation. Our producer didn't want us to add too much time to the movie at that point either. I honestly think this is the worst mistake that a filmmaker could make. Backstories and motivations are essential. A picture is only as successful as its villain is, I think, how Alfred Hitchcock's quote goes. Even the studio executives, who didn't have much power over Mike Mitchell, kept asking him if he could include some sort of backstory for these 2 new characters. Again, he didn't budge until the last possible minute.
That's so weird. The primary one of the things that gets praised the most in all 3 movies was the backstory.
Yeah.
Of the villains. That's just kind of like, yeah, that's just like known.
I mean, even it's like, I mean, everyone just saw it so easily when they just reached Kai. Was like, oh, so he just wants power because he's obsessed with it, and just like, and they immediately just like, okay, he's the weakest villain of all 3.
Yeah, and then the main thing with the villains in general is like, as we were saying, like a lot of the stuff seems like first draft, in terms of like some of their motivations or like how they get to this point, and it's like, I really think that like, so if what you're saying is like exactly how it happens, is like, man, I think they just did not realize that, man, the chameleon got shunned because she was small. Damn, I guess they forgot Mantis exist.
Yeah,
the first draft.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sent the link to you guys, but yeah, I remember seeing that Q&A and I was just like, wow, this is absolutely insane. And here's like the biggest thing. Recently, DreamWorks has announced that they're downsizing.
What?
Like I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna make sure because I don't wanna say any claims and put it like in this and make anything up. Oh yes. DreamWorks Animation to significantly cut staff in coming months. Yep.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Didn't you guys just get as much success with Puss in Boots?
It's simply you just mentioning that, yes, like here are just like my closing thoughts with all this. Like Puss in Boots 2, since you mentioned that, it's so insane seeing how DreamWorks showed that they really have this passion and this energy with them to create something so expressive as Puss in Boots 2, but then also be the same company that doesn't have the same faith in their own works like Kung Fu Panda 4, because this movie was not marketed. It was not marketed. And then also the fact of their other movies, Ruby Gillman, not marketed. Then Trolls 3, not marketed. It was able to make its money, but it wasn't as marketed as much as it could have been. And it's just simply, you're seeing a lot of this like studio where we thought would be like, oh, we're going to have a renaissance from them. We're seeing a backtread that is so significantly out of like touch from what they were originally doing that it's so jarring, and it just reflects a lot of what's happening recently with the animation industry. And it's like, as someone who is passionate about the animation industry and wanting to go into it, I think it's just very important that like this needs to be called out further, especially with the rise of AI animation, because we like artists that are passionate about making the best product, like they want to give out the best product. They simply, to me, even if you have like the best like AI to create something as perfect or as almost the exact same as a human would, you shouldn't replace a human whatsoever, or replace multiple humans just because, as Jeffrey Katzenberg said like a little while ago, he said this quote where now with AI animation, you can now have it where it will take 90% of artists' jobs within 3 years. The man who made DreamWorks animations, the man who basically wanted to go against Disney to show that instead of following a specific trend or following a specific guideline, was the creator of a studio that showed that animation could be more than just the fairy tale, that could be more than just the Disney musical, that there was more expression to it, is now the same guy that is saying, let's have AI take over animation. And is also the same guy who is basically allowing DreamWorks to produce movies that aren't on par as their recent one, their most successful one, Puss in Boots 2. And I just hope that if they really are going to do a Kung Fu Panda 5 and 6, take your time, listen to your staff, and please don't add any last minute stuff in. People are people. Don't overwork them and don't treat them as less.
And
that's from me.
Yeah, and also the fact that it's not even gonna work in long term. Just saying, it's like if you look at like Marvel stuff, it's like I mean, it is up for like 2 years. After that, everything is just bomb after bomb. It's like, dude, everyone knows the fact. Everyone can see the fact that what you put out is just gonna be worse and worse. It's like, what the fuck? I'm so surprised no company even learned that lesson. It's like, wait, why don't you just take your time, just actually produce good shit?
Yeah, I don't know where this I guess like AI can definitely be like a part of the conversation in terms of like what exactly is like rushing people to get product after product out without the love and care that they used to have. It is something like we just noticed like now, at least a lot more in the 2020s, where things are just like they just have to rapidly go through, and we just like there's no break for anything. And especially like when you consider something like animation, like I mean, some of the facts that I'm hearing like with like Kung Fu Panda 4 in particular, it's like some of these are just like basic storytelling elements, like a backstory for the villain, or like some interactions between characters that should have interactions, like Shifu should react to hearing Tai Lung is back, or something like that. Like these are just like normal things that you would assume to have like when you're like doing like script writing and all that stuff. But obviously the script writing section and the animation section is going to be very different, especially since like these are two different aspects of creation. And obviously you need like a good communication between your staff and all that stuff as well. But yeah, that's just like it is just obviously like since I'm not in that industry myself, I know like Unity's working on script writing himself, and then as you
Yeah.
mentioned, Renee, with the animation side of things
Mhm.
as well. So I definitely learned a lot from you two in terms of like, yeah, it's like it's just like from a fan perspective, it's like, yeah, you can see something is wrong, but like in terms of like how that is something like for I guess like as I've learned in terms of like critiquing over the years, it's like there are just some things like man there really isn't a fair shot sometimes like when it comes to some of the criticisms that we're making like we can only criticize the final product
Yep.
at least like for myself but like that whole process and like how people get to have to do things like they follow these certain guidelines they have to cut things that they wanted but it didn't work out or things like that it's like sometimes you just remember it's like these things took like months sometimes years to like get something done um and it's just something like I do have to appreciate from time to time. Like a lot of work went into this stuff, even if it's not good in the final product. A lot of time and effort and money went into this thing, and it's not as easy as people think it is. So
Mhm.
something I definitely learned.
Yeah. Like this.
And people just don't like take it for granted. They want their like entertainment like now and now, but simply entertainment you need it to give it time. Like that's just the basic thing. With
Yeah.
anything, you need to give it time.
Yeah. Real things takes time. You just have to like, you just have to just sit them down. Just like, okay, you have to do it. I'll just give you time, money, effort. Just like, just do it.
Yeah.
It's like,
And to me personally, with just by trying to introduce AI into that factor, like of course this is far off from Kung Fu Panda, but since we are just talking about this, like with AI in that factor, instead of the executive seeing it as like, oh, you can have it as like a tool to like help like a little fast in the process, but still give them the time, they want to have it where we can now get this out faster and get more money because now people will be able to get their thing faster. But the consequence of that is now because you're giving them the power to essentially create and be the same like level of a skilled artist as people would say, then as Syndrome said, like from Incredibles, no one will be. By giving
Right.
them the power
yeah.
to essentially just be the best artists or just on par as artists or on par of the best writers, then no one is because simply they're just lazy enough now to be doing the exact same thing. And instead of teaching people the process and enjoying it, we are a lot of people are just I'm gonna admit like just a little selfish and not as um not as very reflective or just seen to be grateful that people are giving their time or just want to give time to making the stories we love. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda
Yeah.
4, just a result of very poor communication behind the scenes, poor just a bit of like poor storytelling with a series that's just so great in how unique its storytelling is. Like it's
Yeah.
just so weird how this movie is so generic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading the fucking the document. It's like the director is like, what the fuck? I mean, he's apparently given every control. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want. It's like, I was like, at that point, I was like, do you even watch the previous movies? I just don't believe you.
Oh, here's a fun fact. That director, guess what?
Yeah.
He is the director of Shrek 4.
Fuck. Great. Yeah. Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
What the?
Sky High.
Sky High.
Yeah.
And
Sky High was
Lego
fun.
Movie 2.
Oh fuck my. Oh
Uh,
fuck. Yeah. That
Sky
that
High
adds
was
up.
fun. Sky High was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sky High is fun, yes.
Lego Movie 2 is horrible. I'm sorry.
I haven't
It's,
seen it,
yeah.
but yeah, no.
Yeah.
I would say at the end of the day that Kung Fu Panda 4 is horrible. I just feel very disappointed, and I feel being disappointed is worse than anything
Same.
else,
Yeah.
really.
It's to be honest, I mean, to be honest, the more I think about this movie, the more I just want to make a video. It's like, okay, here are all the problems of this movie.
Oh, I'm already
Okay.
doing that actually.
Oh, fuck. It's fine.
Yeah. I would say like so I do find it interesting. Like you said, like originally they were supposed to do a 6-film arc instead of like a trilogy. But then after the third movie, they realized like that could be like kind of a good place to stop. So I guess it's interesting, like as of like why they got to that conclusion. I guess like I mean it is fair, um, but then it's like they decided to go back to the fourth film idea, but that's like from 20 nearly a decade later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they should just come up with one. To be honest, they have like 3 shows. I mean, they are not canon, but like,
because like Shrek is the franchise that keeps going. I mean they're making another Shrek right now.
what?
Yeah, I
they
think
made,
so.
I mean, they made Puss in Boots the last wish. It's like, yeah, of course they could have made something great, even if they are
Honestly, at the
connected to a
time, I
franchise.
did not know Puss in Boots 2 was like a sequel to another
Well,
movie.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. From what I've been able to research, and I do not have like the documentation on me as of yet, but from what I remember having seen, is that the directors for like the co-directors for those movies, like Puss in Boots 1 and 2, I mean Puss in Boots 2, they didn't like see like one person as like, oh, you're this guy, or oh, you're that guy. They saw themselves as equals, and they collaborated with each other because they were just like, okay, we can be able to do this together. And also the fact is that Puss in Boots 2 took a lot of risk. The fact
Yeah.
that Puss in Boots 2, I was actually in the Zoom call for this because I was learning about Dreamworks back in 2023, I believe. Yeah, 2023. There was a Zoom call from Dreamworks with just like, oh, like, do you have questions about the internships and everything? And I was looking at that, and I remember that the director of the movie was talking about his this conversation he had with the lighting director of the movie, and he asked, "Hey, for the wolf, how far do we want the lighting to go for the wolf to make him scary?" And the director, I kid you not, said this: "Make them scream." That's baller.
Yeah, it's
Oh man, such a good
Yeah.
movie.
it's like it just blows everyone away. It's like everyone's like, I didn't even hear a lot of promotion of that movie. That's the thing. But after this movie, everyone just like, guys, you have to see it. It's that good.
Yeah, that's where I got it from. I just heard a lot of people recommend it.
Yeah, for real, for real. That's what I heard too. Once everyone was starting to recommend it, I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. And I watch it, I was like, oh fuck, this is amazing.
Oh man.
yeah, and they got the Spider-Verse crew in terms of the animation department.
Yep.
It
Yeah,
was
and by the way,
everything was just hitting.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean the budget wasn't even that much. It's just like 90 to 110 million. I mean, compared to Disney, it wasn't that much.
Yeah,
I
Kung
think
Fu Panda
this-
4 did get its money back.
Yeah, I think this movie was 80 million.
Yeah, 85.
85. Okay, yeah. And it's definitely significantly lower than the other three, of course. And
Right.
I was like, I definitely felt it when I was watching it, but I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna let it detract from that. But of course, as we've seen with the rest of the movie, it didn't do any favors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, DreamWorks, please, animation studios, just entertainment studios in general, give your staff time, listen to your staff. They might just have a few tips here and there to help make the movie better. And just like I said, don't put anything last minute in unless it's very detrimental and you
And,
can actually make it work.
It was like that wasn't even like attacking studio because this movie also just like, hey, just give the director just like, hey, just do everything. I don't fucking care. It was like, no. You sometimes you really have to intersect something. I'm sorry. Do you know that even like some of the best movies of all time, like the Shawshank Redemption and the Lord of the Rings has like studio inputs. Like, do you want to make the 3 movies? Lord of the Rings? It's like, yeah, and everyone's like, oh fuck, why didn't we do that? And
Mhm.
it's the best movie of all, and then just like it's one of the best trilogy of all time. But it's like I wasn't even attacking because I just think there should be a balance between them. That's the thing. Just you listen to them, they will listen to you.
I
Yeah.
also do think we just need to sometimes we do just need to accept trilogies should just be trilogies. If you really
Yeah,
want to
or
make
just-
more, I feel like if you wanted to make a 4th film, you could have done it a few years earlier than
Yeah.
compared to right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any delays, like they've had this idea, but then again, it's like we've only heard that this movie's coming out like the end of last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of my other thing too. It's just let trilogies be trilogies again. I don't know why it's so
Yeah.
hard to do that.
To be
At
honest,
least it is not Megamind 2.
At least it's not Megamind 2.
but that bar is in the core of the earth. It's like that.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
So it's like what should that? Like, but to be honest, everyone just got turned away when they saw the casting list. Aquafina will be the main character. It's like, yeah, no one's gonna watch it.
Who knows? Kung Fu Panda 5 might just blow us away if they give the time.
Yeah, if we got it, Puss in Boots' last wish.
Yeah, Dreamworks really needs to get a big success from the Wild Robot. I hope it's good. I just hope.
Yeah, it's gotta be crazy. Like, what is the next project, anyways?
That's it. The Wild
The
Robot.
Wild Robot.
What? I never heard of that.
It started like the trailers are coming out, and thankfully it is a lot more ahead of time. It comes out in November, so they're starting it out now. The trailers.
Yeah. I hope they're not gonna continue any more products if they're not gonna do it well. Yeah, I'm not sure. The Wild Robots play director Chris Sanders. What did he make?
How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
No, he's only the producer. No, he's not the producer. He's just executive producer.
Got it. Okay.
He made Mulan. Oh, he wrote Mulan.
Which one?
The animation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I don't really have much. I mean, it could be good.
Hopefully, crossing fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Kung Fu Panda 4. Any final wrap up thoughts for the movie?
Fuck. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's just like the plot's nonsense. The main bad guy is a walking contradiction. The poets regress as a character. Shifu, it's retconned. I mean, the world building is confusing as shit now. I have no idea how popular is the Dragon Warrior supposed to be, and even the best parts like the dads, just like they still have some problems. They just inside there, and I hope they do it better next time.
If I have to say anything, I guess probably it's also just kind of funny how it's kind of morbid now knowing that only Kung Fu masters go into the spirit realm, meaning that the dads, if they die, they might just see the void.
Yeah.
So it's probably just they're seeing the void because they just have that gay ass energy. Dreamers is just shaking their head. All right.
Yeah, and then my other thing that I really don't like as well is like when they go so heavy handed with the spirit world, like you can take the spirits from that world, pull them into our universe, take away their chi that allows them to use kung fu power, and then put them in the cell. So I guess it's like, so they're still like living beings that can be arrested and like put in cells and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like now it's like you're kind of cheating death in a way.
By the way,
heavy-handed they go.
Yeah, and the movie never.
And they say specifically Kai was only able to do that because he stole enough of the chi from the masters inside the spirit realm. Oogway was like a last like piece that allowed him to have the energy to go into the mortal world. But then it turns out apparently Oogway's staff can like bring them straight up.
By the way, shouldn't we ask like why didn't Oogway just use the staff to just go back to the real world if that's the case?
Yeah,
I think he just wanted to chill.
The only defense, that was his defense. So it's like maybe I could do that, but I didn't really feel like it. Fair enough.
Yeah, who knows? I never tried.
Who knows?
Fuck.
Who knows? I never tried.
It's like and just everyone just like, oh fuck, I can come back to life, and no one just like, oh fuck, no one just figured that's a real option. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and then my biggest disappointment was like this film could have easily been like on par with Goku and Vegeta with Poe and Tai Lung. It's just a wasted opportunity, especially if you're going to bring back Ian McShane for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
yeah, to be honest, even when I heard everyone just like, oh, it's mediocre, I was like, nah, I was like, the movie's gonna be terrible, and I watched it, was like, wow, there are so many problems. I wasn't even a big fan of the franchise. Like, I love them. It's like I didn't revisit them that often. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
so
Uh,
would
And
you
it's
say
like,
that? Oh, wait, you go first.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, once they said it's like, we need you to make a new Dragon Warrior. It's like, yeah, uh, I know how the rest of this movie's going to go.
Yep.
And that's exactly how it went.
So let's see. The last thing I guess I can ask and probably do before ending it, probably. So how would you say your ranking is now of the franchise? Of course, we all know what the bottom is now, but how would you
Yeah.
say for the other three?
I'd say 1 and 2 is like tosses up from time to time. I think I'd still go with 2, 1, 3, 4.
Okay. You, Unity?
yeah, it's just yeah. To be honest, it's just either one or two. To be honest, the change is just the first two movies. Just like, is it one or two better? I don't. I'm sure the second movie. Maybe two, because two has the best emotional beats in it. It's like the best character payoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Mhm.
Plus, 2 is
two.
able to take a bigger risk as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which it makes it more satisfying when it pays it off as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think, yeah, maybe 2-1, which is like the gap is just like an inch. It's like that's how good both movies are. And then three
Mhm.
is like there's a major gap, but it's like it's not bad. And then there's a
Yeah.
major gap between the fourth one.
Yeah. I think for me, since I've seen it so many times, I saw the first one so many times. I remember seeing the second one in theaters and being very like scared for Poe with Lord Shen.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I think both like Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2 are on the same par. But if I had to say which one I enjoyed a lot more, it's just for nostalgia of just watching it a lot so many times. I even can quote it almost accurately. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Mm.
I love that Tai Lung Shifu meme of like training him as a kid and then like he's on the steps as grown adults. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
I use that meme all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like, yeah.
yeah.
It's like Thailand has a lot of meme moments. It's like, hey, finally a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary.
Have you seen the memes for the Kung Fu Panda 4 right now? It's literally the scene where it's Tai Lung versus Shifu at the end of the movie in the first movie, and it's like Shifu is like Dreamworks and yeah, it's like Dreamworks, and then Tai Lung is the fans, and it's like, I did not mean to make a bad movie. That was not my fault. Not your fault.
Yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love Tai Lung.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, that was Kung Fu Panda 4, along with a good amount of talk about DreamWorks in general, about the other Kung Fu Panda movies as well, a little bit about Puss in Boots as well. So yeah. So you already say goodbye to the people.
So yeah, during this Easter, I would do some filming and script writing. To be honest, that's basically what I'm doing every day. So
yeah.
yeah,
Have a good day, everyone. Have a good night. Just be kind to others. Be kind to yourself, and have a good one. See ya.
see ya.
Yeah. Hello, Renee. Why don't you also recommend your channel?
Oh yes, and so my channel is kind of like a little dead at the moment, but I'm trying to get back with it with the Kung Fu Panda 4 video I plan on doing, and a little retrospective on the Owl House, since it's about to be a year since the Owl House had ended. It will be
Right.
around in the month, not by the 8th, but it will be within the month. My channel is Renee, the artist of random _123. All caps on the first letters of the words, and you can just find me there. Except an of that doesn't need any caps, but there I'll just be doing content of course, the reviews on Kung Fu Panda 4, the Owl House. I am currently right now doing a walkthrough series, filming the walkthrough series of Baldur's Gate 3, and just keep a lookout on all those things. I'll probably do other stuff too. So yeah, just check me out if you want to.
Yeah, we have all the links in the description down below. Also, subscribe to our other channel, Another Reviews Corp podcast, where we archive these videos 2 days after the stream. We also have a Spotify of the same name, Another Reviews Corp podcast, where you can find all of those links, including Renee's channel, Unity's channel, my channel, the ARC channel, all of them in the description down below. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks again, Renee, for showing up.
Of course.
And we will see you next time. Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.